Welcome into another edition of Hand Raise Guys. LSU 58, Ole Miss 37. We are in the Clark Ford studio. Neil McCready, Chase Parham, coming to you for a while now. We'll talk about the game. We'll talk about SEC action today. We'll talk about Tua's injury. Whatever you guys want to talk about. Tell us what you want. What's on your mind. Looking in the chat box over here. We'll get to questions here in a little bit. As well from subscribers. We'll open up the phone lines for that here as we kind of get done with the intro. We've got glasses poured in front of us. We got water because hydration is very, very, very important as well. So we have that. We have Oklahoma and Baylor tied at 31 on the television right now. 4:15 to go in this one. If you want to talk basketball, we can talk basketball as well. That's fine. I have no issues with that. Ole Miss beat Western Michigan last night by a lot. I don't know what the final score was. They played like crap early, and then they won 85-58 maybe.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right.
So whatever you guys want. There's instant analysis up on the site where we had some football comments, just kind of the initial thoughts of theirs. We're kind of letting the watch count go up, letting everybody kind of get in here before we really get started. What are you drinking? What's on your minds? Who was at the game and is already home? Who's driving home from the game? Let's see it in the thread. Let's see what's going on. As we're here. Let's see. We will not have a hand raise, guys, for Memphis at 2 because I think Neil's going to the game, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to go. The only way you can watch it is to stream it, and I'm going to go up there and go to the game.
Tyler Pitch says watching Chase drink water makes me angry for some reason. I have other things too, but I'm hydrating. I have to actually leave the studio and drive home at some point tonight.
My drive does not even. I mean,
because I was perfectly fine last week, but it was the first time where Neil goes, "Hey, are you all right? Are we good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. It's all fine. It's all good."
I can just lay down right here and go to sleep.
Somebody back at the car about to drive home. Keep us locked in. We'll entertain you on the drive home. We'll keep you awake. Neil needed a hand raise, guys. Some of those trips back from Dayton and Baton Rouge and some of those places.
No doubt about it.
So let's repeat a little bit. Let's talk a little about the game while we're just talking again. Whatever you guys want to discuss, we can pretty much do that. Start on offense. Everybody likes quarterback play. Maybe we'll talk about it enough where every question won't be about quarterback play.
Okay.
Corral played a little more. Still not enough to really count. The Groundhog Day portions of the night, John Rice Plumlee is one hell of a runner.
Yes. Set
the school record for rushing yards by a quarterback. He needs a very small lane to take off and be dynamic on the ground. And I've got a little bit of a hot take after watching him tonight.
Okay.
I said this a little on the show a minute ago in the instant analysis. Yeah, Jefferson's Ocean was that was the drink the morning of the NCAA stuff was announced. That was my pour at 8:20 in the morning when
you were drunk by 10. You were that morning.
I was not.
Yeah, you were. You're on your way too drunk.
I went to the press conference unsure if I would be in a state enough to answer a question is what happened that day. Because I think at one point Neil even said, "Hey, there is a press conference later today." You do realize that, right?
I did say that.
We have to go to a press conference. And it was like, "Oh, it's all good. It'll be fine. It's fine." So anyway, look, we know the limitations that are on the offense right now. We're not going to spend 3 hours talking about that because, frankly, I'm bored with it. We know he's a heck of a runner. Ole Miss is 4-7 at this point. One game left. I had the stat last week that Ole Miss, their Plumlee, had only thrown 8 passes from inside 20 air yards to the left side of the field, meaning if it wasn't a deep ball, he'd only thrown eight passes the entire left side. I think that the offensive play calling, and I'm going to kind of talk off both sides of my mouth, but we're going to be here for a while, so I got time to kind of do this.
Sure.
I think the offensive play calling limits what we even know about Plumlee, in my opinion. I think that they don't give him enough of a chance to throw on first down. I think they don't give him enough chance to use the whole field and just drop back in the pocket a number of times. So let's see how much the height's a problem. Let's see what it looks like when he runs more of a corral type of offense with this playbook. I think there are some things from a schematic standpoint that we don't know with Plumlee to this point. We know he has to get better. I'm not saying that he's where he needs to be as a passer. That's not the point. But I do think the playbook has been very inhibitive because, look, they found a way to rush for 400 and whatever yards today, Plumlee running for 200 and whatever yards today, with an average at best offensive line, let's just be honest, and a one-dimensional attack that doesn't even use a part of the field. So if this thing was a little more balanced, if you just had the look of a different type of offense even to be able to use a little bit of everything and let him drop back and throw the ball a little bit and have some semblance of, not, I hate to say even balance, but just whatever. I do think it would make him even better when he does choose to run. It would limit some of these hits. It would change the play calling a little bit. Yeah, the OL's okay with running, but it's not an above average offensive line. I think there's some things here where this could look better, and in the off season, because you're not fixing anything with 1 week to go in the season, give him spring, give him the summer. I've said the entire time I'm not really going to judge him until fall camp next year. I think there's a way to make this thing look a little different, help him, and it will even accentuate and make the positives even more of a positive, in my opinion. Maybe I'm crazy, but that is my opinion. I think Rich Rod has done a great job of getting something out of the run game with this offensive line and Plumlee and everything with them being limited. I'm just not 100% sure they have to be limited. I kind of want to see what else the thing is going. Yeah, the play calling is limited. The offensive 600 yards was not limited. They did a hell of a job getting yards tonight. That's not the problem.
Again, he's an elite runner. He's a great runner. He's one of the best running quarterbacks I've ever seen. He's not a good passer at this point. I don't know that they can make him a good passer, but they've got to try because otherwise the ceiling is pretty low in the league that you play in, the schedule that they play next year. He's got to be able to throw some, period. He's their quarterback. Corral's going to leave. I mean, there's no secret here. Matt's been a good soldier. He's leaving. Tisdale's already left. I think Dent will stay, at least for a little while. But Dent doesn't play this system. So they're going to go out. Now, they're clearly recruiting Robbie Ashford, and they're recruiting Jimmy Holiday, and I think they're going to try to sign them both. And my concern about the offense as the way it's run right now, I mean, he's sustained it so far this season. I just wonder how many hits you can take, how many hits you can keep taking.
And that's kind of my point. I think you have to run a more traditional offense to limit the hits and do a little bit of everything. It to me, it helps everything if you do that.
Well, it's this. So tonight, Plumlee had 21 carries, Ely had 13, and Connor had 8. 13 plus 8 is 21. I don't think that's sustainable going forward. I think you got to flip some of that.
Yeah, Matt Bailey says a lot of times Plumlee was forced to pass and down in long situations look pretty bad. Yeah, don't put him in those situations. There's too much running early, which then creates a must-pass situation deeper in the thing. A little more balance, a little bit whatever. Just my opinion. I think that there are things that are not being
So Olhas does this deal that everybody does to me. What happened to the bill coming due, Neil? Why judge the O versus a normal roster? Because here's the bottom line. They went into the season starting last year. They did this. Ole Miss did this. Not the media. Ole Miss put out a video last year after the Egg Bowl, which was a beatdown in Oxford, of Matt Luke consoling Matt Corral on the sidelines, saying, "It's your turn now." They made him the face of the program. They took him to media days, and when he got hurt, they bailed on it. So they've completely changed the way that they were going to build their program. They've gone to this incredible run-oriented offense, and that is not what they talked about doing when they brought Rich Rodriguez. They talked about balance. This isn't a balanced offense. So we'll see. Here's the bottom line. They got another game. They play Mississippi State. If they win, we're going to have this whole APR discussion. If they lose, the season ends. They go into next season. We know who the quarterback is next season. We know what the stakes are next season. They're on the clock. When the Baylor game starts in September in Houston, the score will be 0-0. There will be 15 minutes left in the first quarter, and they'll flip a coin, and somebody from Ole Miss or somebody from Baylor will kick a ball, and away we go, and they'll be on the clock, and they have to win some games next year. Close calls and valiant efforts and moral victories and stuff won't matter, and everyone knows it. Literally everyone knows it. There really won't be a lot of suspense built up for it.
Yeah, look, guys, we've talked about this every week, and I'm not talking down. I'm just repeating. He's going. They pushed the kick.
No, he made it.
Oh, he made it. Okay. He's going to play baseball. Now, I don't know what that schedule looks like. Frankly, I think they're having to retool that schedule a little bit because when that schedule was first done, nobody expected him to be the incumbent quarterback going into next year. So you went, hey, go play baseball. Let it be what it is. All good, whatever. That's not the way this thing's going anymore. I still think the summer is more important than spring, my opinion. I think the day-to-day with those receivers, because Plumlee needs 7-on-7 work. He doesn't need full pads, all this crap. He just needs 7-on. He needs to
go work
with David
Morris.
Throw the football. Yeah, he needs to go to Mobile.
Yeah.
The thing that would get me if you're that is, hey, no summer baseball. You're not going to the Cape or anything. You're going to go somewhere and you're going to work on your craft and you're going to throw footballs. But I think he's going to give the baseball thing a shot. I think he has a chance to play. But I'm as intrigued off season with that as I am anything else there is. And no, if he's actually a contributor, he can't do 15 spring football practices too.
No,
it's just the schedules overrun each other too much.
Well, I mean, like we talked about on the podcast one day last week, I think. I mean, there's a chance he's the starting center fielder for this team.
Widow Jane 12 is excellent. Somebody asked. It's excellent.
I mean, if he's the starting center fielder, he's got to be at baseball meetings. He's got to travel with the baseball team. He's got to practice baseball. He's got to play midweeks. Spring football is overrated. His deal, you're exactly right. His deal is making sure that he gets that work in. He needs to get his fundamental work in. A lot of his deal is footwork. It's getting his feet set, getting his shoulders set. It's building arm strength. It's not going through spring practices. It's just my opinion. I think that part's overrated. But yeah, this summer he's got to concentrate on football. Period. Yeah, I mean, if he misses the spring game, so what? I mean, spring games are meaningless.
I'm not really worried about the practices for a bowl season. I think that's still too close to the season. I think there has to be a complete development off season.
I do too.
That's my opinion. Forwards a single barrel, Woodford Reserve. Forwards a single barrel is my favorite out of those two. Woodford Reserve is fine. I like the double oaked.
That's what I have tonight.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was about to switch to something else.
Yeah, I like the double oaked, but no, I like the Four Roads of single barrel better. You make a good point. I haven't put those defensive things up. I need to do that tomorrow. I will. I'll make a point to do that. We talk about the offense. The defensive line loses a ton of snaps next season.
Yeah.
It's completely having to be remodeled, and the defensive line is the reason why, or at least one of the main reasons why, or the reason why the defense has been so much better. They get some pressure. They stop the run up front. They free up some of the guys in the back seven because the secondary depleted health-wise tonight, got picked on most of the evening for the most part. The biggest coaching job, if McIntyre's still here and doesn't get a head job, is going to be figuring out what that depth looks like up front because, Benito Jones, he's had his best season by far of his career.
Yeah.
Coatney's been good. Shepard's been good. I mean, there's a lot of loss at the end of this thing from a defensive line standpoint. That's maybe, along with the Plumlee passing situation, the story of the offseason is what they're doing in those spots.
I think so. I think it is. And the offensive lines are rebuilt still to some degree. I mean, they've got work to do up there to build some depth on the offensive front. I expect a couple of transfers actually on the offensive line. I do. They have to. Like I repeated this the other day. I think it was on Soft Verbal. I can't remember. We talked so much. They have to have 9 players leave because they're signing a full class. So to make room on the 85, 9 people have to leave. So they're at 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I guess like 5 now. So the other guys are going to leave.
At least is it just 5?
I don't know. I've lost track.
It's 5 to 7.
Yeah,
I think it might even be 7. Had 600 yards of offense. Yeah. No doubt. Scored 37 points. You'd have taken that going in no matter what.
Sure.
I get all that.
Sure.
I just think that it can look different and be better. You can't always count on 65-yard runs.
No, they've got to be able to start sustaining some drives. They've almost reversed themselves from a year ago when they would have all these big passing plays, but they couldn't establish drives. They're doing some of that stuff now. He does a lot of good things. I mean, he's won the quarterback job. He's going to be the quarterback. They've answered that question.
Ely's going to be better. You would think he's going to get more carries. He and Connor have a chance to be one hell of a 1-2 back there.
I mean, Ely has a chance to be a superstar. But they have to give him the opportunity to do it. They got to put the ball in his hands. I'd like to see his rush total and Plumlee's rush total flip-flop.
See, that's another thing, too. With just a little more of a traditional, not bogged down, but just a little more of a traditional offense, it also would allow Ely and the running backs to get more carries because you wouldn't be dependent on the reads.
Right.
So Plumlee wouldn't be reading. I mean, he's not making mistakes, but he's reading one thing and then keeps the ball, and it's putting his pitch count up. It's keeping the ball out of Ely and Connor's hands. Whereas just run the playbook, set the thing, and get out some of the RPO stuff, and just go. I think you can take some reads out of this thing. I mean, the next game I coordinate would be my first, but I do have these opinions.
I coordinated a powder puff game once.
Yeah, I know. You weren't even sure if you won or not.
Yeah, I wasn't concerned.
Oklahoma won. Right?
Oklahoma wins. That's a big win for them. I don't know why. It just is.
I mean, they're still in it. I mean, Alabama's going to fall to the worst one-loss team, right? Because the College Football Playoff Committee has the ability to move the rankings down because of
yeah, and they'll lose to Auburn now.
Yeah, Rebel fan says when a guy averages 10 yards a carry, he needs to run. Yeah, Ely, he's basically done that all season. I mean, I had that Pro Football Focus stat a couple weeks ago where his explosiveness led the nation by a large extent from a number standpoint. He is the most explosive running back in the country.
Yeah, he needs to carry the ball 21 times or more a game. They need to give him the ball more on some sweeps, on some off-tackle stuff. They need to get the ball to him in space, not necessarily at the mesh point, but in space.
What are we going to watch now?
Oh, I guess we can go back to Oregon if you want to.
You got anything that you want to talk about? You want to take calls?
No, let's take calls.
Okay. For anybody who's been under a rock the last whatever, Tua Tagovailoa has a dislocated hip. His season is over. Mac Jones, the quarterback at Alabama.
Most people are saying it's a fracture too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. They have not said what the treatment plan is going to be. However, it's an injury similar to what Bo Jackson suffered. Just freak play. Everybody's getting on Saban. It was still the first half. I'm not ready to indict him.
I think Saban had taken him out, and Tua talked his way back in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For one more series? I know you guys probably hear that, but I'm not ready to put the line up yet. So
I didn't hear what you said. It's probably a good thing.
No. There was a call coming in.
I'm
not ready for that yet. That's going to be a second.
Oh, you're not ready for the call yet?
I mean, well, this guy's really trying. Hold on a second. All right, who we got?
This is Daniel.
What's up,
calling
Daniel?
From Hernando.
Hey, Daniel.
I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on something that's kind of unrelated to Ole Miss, but, Moorhead has held his, those guys are suspended out in the big games all year. Does that not kind of send a message to the locker room like, hey, guys, I know y'all aren't good enough to beat this team, so we're just going to not play all tonight?
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit. It definitely sends that message. It's strategic, and I get the strategy on his part, but it is
well, there's no reason to play the guys against LSU and Alabama in games you can't win to begin with.
Yeah, but it does send a message.
Oh, I agree. I think it makes sense. I just think that, those players, they think they can beat anybody. So to them, they're probably like, damn, well, you just don't really have much faith in us.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt that's what he's telling his kids. He was trying to get him. He's trying to get him to 6 wins. I mean, that was his goal.
I mean, they're all going to play against Ole Miss.
Also, though, just last question, real quick. Did y'all see the UGA student photographer?
Yeah.
Get hit on the sideline?
Yeah, she got knocked out. Apparently, she's going to be okay though.
Have y'all ever been in that situation?
Yeah, Gene Swindle hit me. That was it.
I have not been run over. I was with a friend of mine, Don Hawes, at the end of an Alabama game, and the CBS cart ran over his leg, and he suffered a compound fracture of his leg.
Really?
Yeah, right in front of me. That was bad.
Oh, God.
Damn.
I was trying to make a joke, and you had like a real one.
Yeah, no, it really happened. It was bad.
Yeah, I saw that tonight. I thought that was scary.
Yeah, she's getting
All right, guys,
she's getting released tonight. So that's good news for her.
Okay. Appreciate it, bud.
Thanks.
Avery, this is the end of a Han Pinot Noir from Monterey County. It's all I know.
Good year.
2017, yeah.
Oh, is it?
Just
Okay.
a fantastic year.
Gotcha. Glad it's a good year for you.
Aromas of cherry and strawberry and such, if you say so.
Who's on the line with us?
We on?
Yep.
Yep. Turn your device down.
Yep, I got it down. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
This is Haywood from Vicksburg.
Haywood, what's up?
And kind of what I wanted to call you boys about. I wanted to talk about a couple minutes, maybe not that long, and just kind of give you my thoughts and then let y'all talk about it, since I know that's Neil's favorite question. Just can you talk about this?
Yeah.
So we're a fan. We're leaving the game. We're driving home. I'm not driving, thank the Lord. Here's what I think about Matt Luke, and I want y'all to tell me, kind of hear my take and maybe, kind of talk about it. I think he's a good guy, but I've decided he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
And nice guys finish last. And here's when I decided that. I gave him a pass on the keeping Longo and the McGriff thing, because I see that. That's a human deal. They got him the job. And he said, I got to keep you a year, and I get that and all. But he hired Rich Rod, and he said, all right, you got the keys to the offense, But now we have just mangled the hell out of his quarterback deal. And he couldn't step in and say, I know I told you were going to have the keys to the offense, but I'm your boss. Okay? And this is what we're going to do. Corral's going to be the guy. And I know we told the boy we put him a quarterback, but we're moving him to the slot. Okay? And that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, name that Fortune 500 company. CEO doesn't get on there and say, look, I'm going to put my VP of Ops on for the earnings call. No, the CEO gets on there and talks, and he says, this is the way it is. And he takes the praise, and he takes the criticism.
Here's the thing. It's twofold answer to that. Number one, he doesn't want to play anything but quarterback. And number two, Rich Rodriguez wants him to be his quarterback.
Oh, I know he does.
So
it's
really that simple.
With it.
I'm not sure that if you went to to John Rice Plumlee and said, we're moving you to slot, I'm not sure that he wouldn't say, you know what, I'm just going to go play baseball.
Okay, that's my point. Well, then you just tell him, all right, go play baseball.
But
he can't throw.
But that's the thing. They wanted him at Ole Miss, and the only way they could get him was to promise him that he'd play quarterback. Otherwise, I think he goes to one of the other schools.
No, I agree. But after you get him, my point is kind of like, after you get him there, that's good and all.
That's how you F up recruiting right there. You get a kid like him that starts telling other kids, hey man, don't listen to them, don't listen to their promises. They break their promises fast.
That's a fair point.
If you make a promise in recruiting, you got to keep it.
That's a very fair point. I'm not as close to it as y'all are, and I get that. But I just feel like, man, you're like, man.
The kids talk to each other. The kids talk to each other. They're all on Instagram with one another. They're on Twitter with one another. Snapchat, whatever.
Yeah.
The Facebook.
That dang Twitter. If only that chancellor would get on Twitter.
Well, we can't do that. He's too busy leading to get on Twitter. So. Hey, thanks.
He's on that face page though. That's where all the kids are.
Yeah, the face page. Hey, Be careful getting home.
Yeah, face, man. Yep, amen.
Yep. Thanks for the
God
call.
bless you.
Yeah, I mean, John Kennedy makes a good point here, actually. I'll get to calls in a second. Why it's ringing like hell in our ear. That Corral had a promise broken to him. And whether that's true or not, but you do see how that's impacted, though.
Yeah.
He thinks he has, which is all that really is kind of perception reality in a lot of ways.
Well,
we can debate the right wrong of Plumlee over Corral. Matt Corral thinks a promise was broken.
sure. And I suspect there's some people in that locker room that agree with him.
I mean, we know that.
Yeah.
That's not a,
Yeah.
that's not a surprise at this
No.
point. One second, caller.
It was a strong uniform game for both teams. That
It always is.
For whatever reason, those two uniforms.
I mean, LSU didn't wear the all whites to really make it pop, but it
No,
was.
that's too much. But it was a good look for everybody.
Who we talking to?
Turn your device down. Turn your device down so you can be in real time.
Hey,
Hey, what's up? Who's this?
this is Jeff from Oxford.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, look, I have a question. Why can we not get rid of Rich Rod? I know we don't want to get rid of the whole coaching staff, but why not just Rich Rod?
You want to pay $2.5 million and then pay enough to hire another guy, and then also with Matt not having any security going into next year, who are you going to get?
Well, that's the question. I don't know who we could get, but my big thing is my wife sits beside me in the stands, and she can call the offensive plays and tell you what they're going to do before they actually run the plays. So, I mean, they're so predictable. We've got to do something.
Well, but firing Rich Rodriguez at $2.5 million and then going out onto the open market and paying seven figures for another coordinator who's going to want a 3-year deal if he's any good, it just doesn't make sense at this point. Here, I know nobody wants to hear this, and I get it. I totally understand. They're going to give this staff one more chance. Next season, they have to win.
I get that. But, there's a lot of people, and I think you guys have hit on it. There's some apathy that's set in.
Sure.
And I think there's a lot of people that have they're going to have to do something, or the apathy is going to become endemic, and then you've got a real problem.
I think you're right. I just think it's going to be one more season before that's whatever, or at least half a season. They're going to give them at least that stretch of difficult games to see what happens next year.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying.
Here's the deal.
I agree with it.
One of two things is going to happen next year. They're either going to break through and they're going to win a couple of those early games and be 4-3 at the end of 7, and they're going to make a move. And, I mean, they're going to stabilize the program, and people are going to be able to say, see, it was just a matter of time. Or they're not. They're going to keep losing. Like Chase came at one point tonight and said Groundhog Day. And it does feel like every game's the same. And if they do that next year, there will be no choice but to make a change. And I think everyone knows it.
Yeah, I agree. And hey, look, guys, I appreciate you taking my call. I really enjoy listening to you guys. And Chase, I'm with you. The single barrel Four Roses is pretty good.
It is, yeah.
It's very
I'll
good.
get X to that one. Appreciate it, bud. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, we'll take this call, then I'll give that thought. I actually had one right there, but we'll do this first, then we'll do that. So, 1 second, caller. All right, go ahead.
Hey, this is WC, Long Beach.
Hey, WC.
Hey, guys. Well, I haven't had a lot of time, but I'm telling you, these freshmen are making progress. And I do think John Rice Plumlee is the answer, and he will get better. You saw Benito Jones. Did he play at all in the second half?
I don't think he returned once he got hurt.
He didn't come back.
I don't even. Yeah. But the defense, I mean, look, it is what it is. We're limited on defense, no doubt. We do need to get better passing game. But I think it will come in the future. And I do agree with giving the staff, look, odds are with the schedule we have starting off next year, it is what it is. We're an improved football team. Do you guys not agree?
No, they're better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
better.
I mean, look, Corral is not the answer. The kid had his chances all second half, and I mean, Plumlee's an elite runner for sure. If he can get a little passing game going, but I would not be upset if Rich Rod left. But it is what it is. So I think we're improving. We look like a sufficient football team, and we'll see. Do you think we can get for over 400 yards in the Egg Bowl rushing?
Ooh.
That's a tall task against them. I mean, that's the thing. It's not the best matchup for Ole Miss from the standpoint of you can throw all over Mississippi State. I mean, throw all over them. I don't know that you
don't
can
think
run
you
on
can
them
run
like
on
crazy.
them,
I mean, Gay's going to play. They're going to be a little better against the run.
Jeez, I mean, good Lord.
I'm just saying.
Who are they? I mean,
You beat State
Well,
by
who
throwing.
they
I'm
stop?
not
I
saying
mean-
you can't beat State running on them, but it's a hell of a lot easier throwing on them.
well, that's true. I mean, they look like a train wreck today. It looks like they quit on their coach. So
Now, that is a very big possibility. I am curious to see how he kind of gets those guys up on that Thursday. I think say Saturday. That's not right.
yeah, agree. All right, guys. Thanks for doing this, guys.
Absolutely.
We enjoy it.
Appreciate it. That is a pretty good point that somebody made. I'll come back to the calls in a second. I figured out how to mute that for a second. That's
How
nice,
about
isn't
that?
it?
That is nice.
You like that?
Oh, that's really good.
You like that?
Yeah.
That's good.
In case you wonder what I'm doing, I'm loading the video on the site.
Somebody said, is 6-6 good enough next year?
I don't think so. I think he's got to win 7.
It's an interesting thought because of what that likely looks like. Because, look, it could be hardly anything from a standpoint of who you beat. I mean, you look at it, you beat UConn, you beat Georgia Southern, you beat whomever the other team is, and then you beat Arkansas, Vandy, and Mississippi State. Let's say that's the 6. That's ugly as all whatever, but I also think that's what going 4-1 in your last 5.
Yeah.
Which, if nothing else, looks like momentum, whether it is or it isn't. I think 6-6 would be a really strange spot at the end of next season. It just like right now, you kind of have your positives and your negatives on your camps, and we always talk about how that you can feed things where a lot of coaches give both sides all the ammunition you need. 6-6 in that scenario would put that times 1,000 next year.
Yeah, I think they have to go 7-5. They got to be 3-4 after 7. And then you can win 4 of the last 6, and you're okay.
You think so?
I do.
Take your word for it.
Got to win 1 of the big games early to be okay. 2 to be good.
Okay. Jump back in. Give me 1 second, caller. All right, who we got on the line?
Hey, Paul, first time, long time. Hey, good listen. Roll damn tide.
Roll Tide.
No, I'm just kidding. Hey, guys. Serious, I'm sitting here in my blue Delta jeans, drinking my whiskey and my Chevrolet purchased by Clark, my blue Delta jeans, just loving life.
That's
Thank
good.
you guys
Thank
for
you.
doing this.
Thank you for doing all
Hey,
that.
no, seriously, hey, that's the way. That's free, right? Hey,
That's right.
let's get off of this. Plumlee can't hit water throwing off a boat. Basketball. Let's holler at that for a minute. Team showing pretty good spark. What Neil? I need your opinion. What's going on?
I like the progress they've made for the first 3 games. I like where they are. They're nowhere close to a finished product, and I still want to see what they look like when Blake Hinson returns at some point in the next week or so. But
Is he coming back on Tuesday?
I don't think so. I think it's gonna be Saturday.
Okay.
But I like them. I like their team. I like they're starting to get some stuff out of their bigs and Hunter and C. And I thought Luis Rodriguez had a really good game last night. Brian looks like himself the last couple of games. Devontae's been good. I like their team.
Crowley was so active again last night.
Yeah, I wrote this in observations. He's going to have a huge breakout game soon. You can just see it. So I'm calling it day after day until it happens. And when it happens, I'm like, see, there it is.
You don't want to get Henson a few reps against Seattle before he has to play Memphis?
I don't know that he's been cleared to have the reps. And he might just be one of those deals where he needs to get some reps in practice first.
Okay.
What do you think about him?
Hey, like I said, I've seen them. They look like they're fiery and ready to go. I think Hintz has put on a lot of weight and ability and really coming along. Tyree and Schuler are not obviously, the type of guards that he's wanting on this team, but I mean, he's doing what he does with this team, and I think the next year, especially when we get length and more of these recruits in, and I think it's going to be a good future. And I'm canceling football and going all on in basketball.
I don't think there's any question that the basketball future is really good. Matthew Morrell's already signed, and Kennedy Chandler was on campus for an official visit this weekend, and I hear that went really well. So, I mean, Kermit's going to recruit the big dogs. He's going to lose some, but I think eventually he's going to win some too.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all doing this.
Thank you. Thanks for the call. You look intense over there. You all right?
Me? I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm just
Okay.
I'm trying to be the operator and run the board, and got a lot going on, Neil. You just sit there and talk and
I
drink
do.
your wine while I try
do.
to handle all this. I got it. All
That's
right.
a good
It's all
point.
good.
That's a good point.
Who's on the line, caller?
Hey, this is Nathan from Madison. Just laying a little bricks this evening. I'll let you know if when Boyce is around, if I see anything like that. I just had a real quick question. Looking at the 2021 schedule more than 2020, is it not crazy to think that if you're going to give this staff the 2020 season, you might as well go ahead and give them the 21, because that schedule is going to be hard regardless? I mean,
Harder than
at
20?
that point, you're already invested. Yeah, no, the 20's a gauntlet by itself without even looking at 21, though. I mean, you're starting off in Atlanta versus a Louisville program that clearly is on the rise. You've got non-conference games against Tulane that is a program on the rise. Liberty,
Head coach Will Hall by that point.
How is
Yeah.
Louisville on the
Well,
rise?
I mean, they were a dumpster fire last year, so clearly they're on the rise. I mean,
but if you're going to say Louisville's on the rise, you have to say Ole Miss is on the rise. I mean, they're.
Oh, come on, Neil. That's not even close. Yeah, they're the cream rising to the top, clearly. So I mean, one, I'm not advocating for this coaching staff to stay. Certainly, I'm not. I was not advocating for them to be hired in the first place. But if you're going to go down this road and you're going to kick this proverbial can, which we're doing as a university right now, why not give him the full 2021 of the remaining of his contract just to see what's out there?
I'll tell you what.
And,
I'll tell you what. Why don't you hold the press conference where you announce that you're going to guarantee the next 2 seasons, and we'll just see.
You gonna roll him over? Are you gonna roll him over after 22?
I will roll him over after 20 if he'll take a reduced buyout.
Well, he's not going to do that. So,
I mean,
look, you've got to understand this. I'm telling you. I'm telling you this from a position of authority. They've got to win next year.
No, I agree 100% with you. It's just, what does winning look like? I mean, you said 7.
7 wins.
I mean, I think, but I think that
because 7 wins means you beat a couple of good teams. Here's the thing, okay? Let's say that they lose the Egg Bowl. This team will have beaten 4 teams with a combined total of 1 Power 5 win. Vanderbilt beat Missouri. That's it. And if they beat Mississippi State's beat who they beaten this year? Arkansas.
They've beaten Kentucky, Arkansas.
Kentucky.
They've beaten 2 of their non-cons to this point.
Yeah,
They'll be the 3rd non-con, lower level. So yeah, I completely agree.
So in that case, they'd beat 5 teams with a total of 3 Power 5 wins. I mean, there's no spinning it. Their argument is that they're close. That's what they say all the time. We're close, and I think they are. But at some point, close doesn't work, and everyone knows it. Close is not good enough. And they're at the point next season where whether it's against Baylor or whether it's against Auburn or whether it's against an Alabama team with a young quarterback or whatever the case may be, they're going to have that breakthrough Saturday. that gets them over the hump where they learn how to win games, or else this isn't going to work because you won't be able to sell enough tickets to make it affordable, to make it economically viable, period.
Yeah. We like diverse thought. Appreciate the call.
Thanks, guys.
We can probably take a poll right here. I'm going to guess most people don't want to guarantee 2021 no matter what. We got any yeses in the audience, gentlemen, ladies? Just a quick Y or an N. Just kind of curious. Anybody want to give 2021? No. Okay. Thought maybe. No. LOL. That's fair. Okay.
Hell no.
That's kind of what I thought. It's kind of my.
Yeah.
Turn your advice down, please.
Who we got?
Hi, this is Robert here in Coldwater, Mississippi.
Hey, Robert, what's up?
Not much. I'm just I've watched every game this year, and I've paid a lot of attention to the passing part of it. And I hear everybody calling for Corral, but it seems like the wide receivers haven't helped out either one of the quarterbacks at any given moment. Every third and long we've had, it seems like a wide receiver has dropped a pass. So would it have helped us to have Corral in, even though maybe Plumlee can't throw as good?
It is a funny thing. It's probably something maybe we've done poorly in some ways. Is I think because they lost AJ and DK and DeMarcus, we sort of just said, hey, the receivers are going to be worse without really looking at what they've actually done. And sure, Elijah's been all right, but he's had some key misplays the last couple of weeks. They've got nothing else. And some of that's on the quarterback, some of that's on the offensive line, but some of that is absolutely on the wide receivers. You're not getting a ton of separation.
Well, tonight,
nobody's making plays. Nobody's going to just get the ball in some of these situations whatsoever.
Tonight, Elijah Moore had 9 catches. Dennis Jackson had 2. Tyler Knight had 2.
Yeah.
Tyler Knight, 2 catches
and
for
Tyler
7.
Knight's barely played all season.
Yeah, 2 catches for 7 yards, along of 4, so the other was 3. Ely caught a ball. Cooley caught a ball. That's it.
And that's kind of my point is, like earlier tonight, what we saw with Elijah Moore earlier in the game when the ball hit him in the hands. And as an Ole Miss fan, we got spoiled over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years with these great wide receivers stretching out for the ball and catching and making those fantastic catches. And Mingo, he may be great. I don't know. He can't get much separation. So at this point, would that passing quarterback help us better? Or with the people complaining about Rich Rod's offense, is he making the decision to play this offense because he knows his wide receivers aren't ready yet to play the large role in the offense?
Sorry, repeat that. We got really distracted by something on the live stream. Somebody's comparing Neal to Bruce Willis. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it was more about how people are complaining about Rich Rod's offense and how he's not utilizing the wide receivers. But when he tries to, it seems like there's a 50-50 shot of the wide receiver not making the plays. And as Ole Miss fans, we're upset because we've gotten used to the DeMarcus Lodges, the DKs, the AJs, the Laquans, all of our great wide receivers we've had in the past making those kind of plays, and now they're not. So he's calling plays because the young wide receivers just aren't ready for the spotlight.
I mean, look, yeah, some of those young guys are going to get better. I like Jaden Jackson. I like Dennis Jackson. Mingo will be fine. There is some of that to some extent. The problem with Ole Miss is you can't get so far away from the passing game that you lose your reputation as a team that signs those type of wide receivers. I mean, Ole Miss has made a living, we've talked about this, out of getting left tackles and wide receivers out of other states and at elite levels. And I'm not saying it's about a niche or anything, but at the end of the day, you kind of are what you are. And if you're going to really go away from that, you better be fully prepared to go away from that, in my opinion.
But is this offense the fault of the lack of leadership at Ole Miss not guaranteeing the season or next year for the head coaches? So they determined to run this offense based on them trying to keep their jobs this year.
Oh, I think earlier in the year, that's probably a fair point. I think it's one of those deals where until very, very recently, I'm not sure Matt Luke knew what he had to do, and I think he may, it was a lot of things. He wanted the seniors to go out with a bowl game. Frankly, just trying to win games any way you know to do it. I mean, it takes a certain level of patience to go, I'm going to mail in a season if it's not the best I can do. But no, I do think there was some decisions being made based off the lack of job security. There's no doubt about that. But I appreciate the call. Let's see if we get in here. I'm gonna kind of wait on a call here to see if we can get this on the line about Neil's doppelganger opinion.
Putting together. I'm about to break a little recruiting news.
Are you?
That's what I'm doing right now.
On this?
On
you put it on the board? What are you doing?
Yeah, well, I'm in admin right now.
Give me 1 second. Yeah, hold on. All right, so what we got here?
All right, well, this is Jeffrey. So,
well, I'm aware of that.
Taylor, right? So Taylor, who is Blair's girlfriend, made the passing comment because, as is tradition here in the household on a Saturday night, after you're done watching the Ole Miss game, we watch hand race guys. And Taylor made the comment, he really looks like Bruce Willis. And first off, Neil, congratulations.
Is that a good
not
thing?
Blind.
Well, it sure is hell better
Taylor,
than the alternative. Or what's actually the case?
Right, no, she actually has both functioning eyes and is a beautiful girl herself. So, Neil, I got to be honest with you, buddy. I think those piercing blues are just staring down at her. And the truth is, if I'm Blair, I'm getting a little sweaty right now.
Yeah, I'm a threat. There's no doubt about that.
Is she willing to get on the
There's
horn?
no question.
Yeah.
But Blair says no.
Well, that's not very fair.
All right, Caleb, here you go. You're on hand race, guys.
Hi.
What's up, Taylor?
Hey, it's actually Taylor, like Taylor with a K.
Oh, it sounded like Taylor.
Yeah,
Isn't that what he said?
that's Jeffrey's fault. That's not our fault. So what? So what did you see in my illustrious co-host over here to make other than just being bald? So every bald guy looks like Bruce Willis.
Honestly, I was just thinking of the movie The Kid, and I was like, he really looks like Bruce Willis. I don't really know what else to tell you.
You gotten that before, McCready?
I have gotten Bruce Willis a couple of times. I usually get Michael Keaton more than I get Bruce Willis.
Do you really?
Michael Keaton.
Yeah. It's just a bald
I see
thing.
Bruce Willis, so.
Yeah, I prefer the Bruce Willis one.
Than that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I take it that's a.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it was a compliment.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
No problem, Neil.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Did you have any idea about our podcast or this show or anything before you walked in this room tonight?
Actually, I have watched one time before.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm familiar.
Okay.
This is my second go around, and I would say there could be a third.
We'll take it.
I like hearing that.
All right. Well, if I think of any other doppelgangers, I will get another phone call in.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Keller.
All right. Bye.
We broke that. So what do we have, Neil? Recruiting wise? Are you gonna do it here or what?
Give me a minute. We're gonna have it up. We're calling a kid.
We're doing what?
Zach is calling a kid.
Is it basketball or football?
Football.
Is it big news?
It's expected news if you read the story on Friday.
Okay. So you may take another call while you're doing that?
Yeah, go ahead.
You look kind of occupied right now.
No, I'm good.
Do what?
I'm editing Zach's story real quick.
Okay. Yeah, 1 second. Turn down your device, by the way. Turn it's down. Yeah, turn down the computer or the phone.
Yeah, 1 second.
Cool. All right. All good. Who's on?
Do you guys think that this offense can work long term? This is Will from Hazelhurst.
Okay.
Hey, Will. I mean, I think it can. I just think the whole running the quarterback 20-something times a game is not particularly I don't
He's
think.
just gonna get hurt, and then if he gets hurt, it's all over.
Yeah, I don't like that part of it.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. Because then you're gonna start losing receiver commitments. I just don't know what I think.
You sound very frustrated.
Because Corral's gonna leave. Not really. I mean, it's Ole Miss. What do you expect?
So what would you
We are
do?
Ole Miss.
What would you do?
I don't know, but this just seems to be kind of problematic if he goes down and the hits he's taking.
There was a couple times tonight where I thought he was getting bent in bad directions. There was a couple, but I mean, to his credit, he keeps popping back up for the most part.
He does, but I just don't feel like he's built to take punishment like that night in, night out.
Well, I don't know that anybody is. That's kind of what I was talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
If you do a lot of different stuff, or not a lot of different stuff, you do a few different things to let him throw on first down, get into the pocket a little bit more. I mean, it's going to limit his pitch count, which is a good thing.
I mean, I think we threw they let him throw the ball maybe like 3 to 5 times in the second half.
Mm-hmm. And it's mostly in expected down and distances.
Yeah, and then when it's 1st and 10, you run the ball and you get one or a loss, you're like, shoot.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
All right.
So, appreciate it.
Well, appreciate it.
No, I'm not shook. I'm Rand. I'm multitasking right now.
Who's on the line?
This is Mark.
What's up, Mark? Where you from?
I'm from Jackson. How y'all doing tonight?
Oh, we're good.
Good. Y'all get to watch, obviously, more practice than us. We get to watch the games.
no, we don't.
We watch a lot more stretching than you watch. We don't watch a lot more practice than you watch.
Well, you get to see more than we see. Since you've seen Corral step on the field last year, Plumlee and Corral this year, in your opinion, who's made more progress as a quarterback?
Oh, I mean, from a strictly on-field standpoint, I think Corral's regressed. He looked better in limited action to me last year than he does this year, even given that it was mop-up or level of competition last year. I do think you had to factor that in. And it wasn't like he was setting the world on fire against Mississippi State, but I thought that he was more comfortable last year, maybe in that offense, maybe just in general. I don't know. You'd have to ask him, and we don't really talk to him. But in general, I thought that he looked – I had a higher ceiling and I had more optimism from him last year than I did early in the season before he lost the gig to Plumlee.
Were either of y'all covering or around the program when Spurlock took over?
I was not here in 2004, no.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
Mm-mm.
It feels similar to me.
In what way?
You heard all these stories. Well, I mean, I apparently Spurlock was a workout warrior, a practice stud, and then he stepped in the game, and Cutcliffe couldn't believe what he saw, the way he reacted, didn't have composure, couldn't make the throws. I would be interested to hear somebody make the case for Corral. We spend a lot of time talking about what Plumlee is, what Plumlee's not, but I haven't heard anybody make the case for why it should be Corral or why we should be worried about keeping Corral or anything about, why should this be Corral's team? Why should we be building the offense around him?
Frankly, I think it's time to move on from it. It's done. They have moved on from him. He's about to move on from them, probably to one of the two teams that's on my television right now. And it's done. It's over. I mean, whether it's he lost confidence or they wrecked his confidence or some combination thereof, it's over. He's out.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to make the case based on on-field performance and productivity that he's an SEC quarterback.
Yeah,
even one in the making.
That's the part that we'll never know, right? Is because I thought he was making some progress in September, and then he got hurt, and Plumlee came in, and he was their guy, and they were never going back to Corral after that. They gave him some limited opportunities, but he's not a limited opportunity guy. he's got to have more than a drive here and a drive there. It's very clear that he pressed. It's very clear that he got frustrated. It's very clear that he struggled with reads and some things happened. And whether it's his fault.
But he looked like that early in the season, too.
He did.
I mean, I heard Cole Kubelik talking on y'all's show. One of the points that he made about Plumlee, he didn't make the opposite point about Corral. You know, Plumlee does a pretty good job on these little swing routes, you know, kind of touch passes, things like that. Corral throws some ugly passes and puts his receivers in bad positions. And I'm not talking about the ugly incompletions, a thing like that. You know, a lot of the completions, the little swing routes, they're throwing behind the running back where he's got to stop, loses momentum. I just, you know, in the games he did play before he got hurt, I didn't see a whole lot redeeming about him. And it seems like there's a lot of criticism being put on Rich Rod for having to completely switch gears during the course of the season because A, he presumably figured out Corral wasn't the guy he thought he was, and B, figured out he had to adapt the offense to Plumlee.
Some of the question to that, though, and I don't know the answer to this, I'm more just talking, is would the change ever have been made had Corral not gotten hurt? Because Plumlee obviously wasn't going to play against Cal. It's very unlikely he would have played against Alabama if that was the case. If you could give me one of those alternate realities, what does this thing look like if Corral had not gotten hurt? Does Plumlee ever get in? And I don't know the answer to that.
Probably two or three more games, and then they give a shot to somebody else. I don't know. Maybe they take it further, but and look, maybe Corral gets better. But Corral played some last season. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was he here in the spring before his true freshman season, or was he a summer guy?
Ooh, I don't remember.
Somebody on the live stream, I'm sure, can
I feel like he was here in the spring. I could be wrong, but if that's the case, that's 2 springs, 2 summers. Snaps as a redshirt freshman, I guess.
He was here in the
now
spring.
Coming in, I mean, so 2 springs, 2 summers, snaps in 2 seasons. A pretty much overall lack of progress. It was going to come at some point. You know, it happened because of the injury, and the process got expedited, but. You know, I called last week and had lots of things to say about big overriding issues, and I'm not a Luke guy. In fact, I'm not a big fan of hiring anybody who would not be hired but for their connection to Ole Miss. But, you know, things changed this season, and the coaching staff had to adapt. Are they doing a perfect job? No, probably not. You know, could Luke's in-game management be better? Absolutely. But I have a hard time with the wholesale criticism of the way Rodriguez has managed the offense, kind of having to adapt on the fly with a quarterback that's, you know, the complete antithesis of what he planned on it being, and quite honestly, what he probably saw in practice going into the season.
Well, and look, you know, a lot of it is small and big plays, but those count too. It's not like they shouldn't count. I do give Rodriguez credit for, like I said, finding ways to at least move the ball some and put up some of this rushing yard stuff with an offensive line that's fine, but nothing spectacular. Wide receivers that haven't really gotten open for the most part, and B, don't block on the outside as well as the guys that they were replacing from last year. And then also, like I said, sort of a one-dimension situation where everybody knows they're going to run the ball, and they've still found a way to scheme that thing and find some creases. I mean, Neil and I were watching the end of the game right here, sitting here, and I did think of that, especially that last touchdown run by Plumlee, that counter where they really took advantage of LSU over pursuing, it was a really good play call. They've done some nice things there. It's just, where's the next step? Because it's a lot like we were talking to Matt Moscona on Thursday or Friday or whatever day that was. That's probably well and good against Arkansas and Vanderbilt, and it might be well and good against Mississippi State. But it's going to have to take that next level to beat A&M or anybody else in that SEC West that you're going to play.
Well, y'all talk a lot about recruiting, and y'all had mentioned the point. The offensive line is, you know, probably a C at best right now. If you put this offense in place with an offensive line that has the talent and has been recruited to block towards it, you probably have a little bit more creativity in play calling. You know, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the drop back passing that we're used to over the past, you know, half decade or more. But you know, he's been able to figure out a way to put yards up, and in most games put points up with no receiving core. no throwing threat in a very limited offensive line.
I also think it's worth noting here that Rodriguez, sure, he got famous with Pat White and Steve Slayton and those guys running the football. He's had a 4,000-yard passer pretty recently. I mean, he at least has he has the reputation of being able to scheme whatever he feels like the team's skill set is, which tells me he goes into this thing every day going, hey, the only way to do this and for this skill set to work is to run the football in frankly, predictable down situations. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's what he believes.
Yeah, I agree. I appreciate what y'all do. It's fun listening to y'all show at night.
Absolutely. Thank you. I mean,
do you ever, every time you take the twist top, every time you ever take the twist top off of a bottle of wine, do you think of the GIF where the guys?
What?
You know what I'm talking about? The GIF. Have you not seen that?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
You know where the guys it looks like it's in one of those reality shows where the guy, did you see us here? And me neither. And he's doing this.
Oh, that. Yeah.
I always think that.
What are you trying? Are you already that buzzed?
I'm not buzzed.
What have you had?
I was finished a bottle that we had started last night. This is a new bottle.
What are you drinking now?
This is Cycles Gladiator.
Okay.
I don't know.
So what's the recruiting news?
Darren Branch.
We'll get to more calls in a minute.
Darren Branch, who was former Miami commitment, has flipped and has committed to Ole Miss. If you read my story on Friday, I reported that his commitment was imminent, and imminent arrived on Saturday night.
The guy who created GIFs says that it is GIF, not a hard G. So I'm going to take his word for it.
So it's GIF like the peanut butter.
Yeah, he says that even though it's GIF, it's GIF. The guy who whatever. It's credited with inventing them.
Okay.
So I'll take his word for it.
All right. Good enough.
Yeah.
I'm really not buzzed, Michael. I kind of wish I were. Got a lot of medicine in my system, though. So, I mean, I'm combining a lot of stuff right now.
I probably will now. I don't think I've ever had the hiccups on air.
Not yet.
Now I'm scared.
Yeah, that would suck.
It is GIF. It is not GIF. Well, you can't use a J because it stands for graphic, right?
I think so.
Isn't that right? I don't know. Hell, something like that. Yeah, Neil sounds better.
Yeah, I feel better.
You look dead the other day. I was a little worried about my own health on Thursday or Friday or whatever day that was.
It was Friday. Well, I went and got 2 shots and got some antibiotics.
Did you?
And went to Starbucks and got the medicine ball.
Hang on, what? You went what?
I went to Starbucks and got the medicine ball.
What is that?
It's like a mint tea with honey and stuff. I'm supposed to make you feel better.
Is it good?
It was okay. What it really did was last night, between that and the steroids, I just laid in the bed.
Really?
Yeah, looked at my phone.
Oh, it's today I called you and you were comatose.
Yeah, I was asleep when you called.
You sound okay. Who's on the call? Who we got?
Hey, turn your device down.
I kind of feel bad because that person's called like 7,000 times.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I gave it a shot.
Oh, well.
I tried. I could hear them. They couldn't hear us. So. Turn your device down, please.
Hey, Chase.
Yep, who's on the call?
It's Matt for Cubalo.
Hey, Matt, how are you?
Hey, Matt, what's up?
Hey, good. Hey, where's y'all's EKU dress tonight?
It's didn't wear it tonight. Hanging in the closet.
Not wearing it at all.
Not tonight.
Hey, why did Matt Corral play at all tonight?
I'm gonna guess he played late because Plumlee got banged up a little bit. That's my guess. Or they just decided
they played him in the middle there because they just weren't moving the ball at that point in time. They just made a switch, and I don't know. I haven't really decided if I have a problem with it or not. Going to be honest.
That sounds like an excuse. I don't think he ever was meant to play.
I think they're trying to keep him around as long as they can.
Doesn't that almost piss you off even more? I mean, I know we're speculating and putting thoughts in his mind, but playing a series here or there, here or there, here or there, here or there, what does that really accomplish?
Well, can I throw a theory out?
Sure.
If I'm Matt Corral and I've made up my mind that I'm out, I'm hopping in the transfer portal tomorrow or Monday so that I can take an official visit next weekend. So that I can take an official visit the weekend of the Egg Bowl. So that I can get into the decision-making process of this. And maybe they're hoping that he doesn't do that because he's their insurance policy if something were to happen to Plumlee early in the Egg Bowl.
Matt's gone, and he should be gone.
Well, he's definitely gone.
It's on. I mean, that's what he should do. You got to think about him as a person.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, he would be foolish right now to stay. He's not going to stay. He's going to leave. He should leave. I think everyone associated with it knows he's going to leave. I think what I'm trying to say is I think maybe they're throwing him a bone here and there for being a good soldier so that he'll stick around to the very end. Because, frankly, if you were advising him right now, you'd say, hey, go ahead and take a couple of visits. Because he's got multiple opportunities out there, I promise you.
Well, he should have opportunities, and I feel like that's what's best for him. But, here's another question. Who cares about JRP's rushing records at this point? How is that a benefit to Ole Miss?
It's not. It's just everybody does that stuff, though. It's just propaganda stuff that everybody does.
Well, okay. Well, here's another one. When you're 4th and 6th on the 21-yard line, playing against the number 1 team in the nation, you ever thought about trying to win the game instead of kicking the field goal? What's the chances of kicking the field goal and you actually having a chance to win the game? Why not just try to win the game by scoring more points than the other team?
Go ahead, Chase.
I mean, scoring more points would be the thing. Look, I did think there were a couple crazy decisions there up in the early part of the game. There's no doubt about that.
They were never winning that game. I mean, come on, can we be real for just a minute? Ole Miss was never beating LSU. I know that the Ole Miss spirit picked Ole Miss to win. I get that, and I
totally agree. But why not try to actually score when you have the chance on the 21-yard line?
I don't have a problem with taking points there. I don't. I mean, they stayed in the game. They were 2 scores down in the 4th quarter. That was an accomplishment. People talked themselves into all week. I watched people on our message board alone talk themselves into Ole Miss has a chance. That's an elite offensive team. LSU scored at will tonight. I mean, Burrow made plays. Give the dude credit. I mean, Joe Burrow tonight was 32 of 42, 489 yards, 5 touchdowns and 2 picks. Had a QBR of 94.7. That's elite stuff. He's an elite player. He's going to win the Heisman Trophy. He made plays.
Yeah,
he made plays when they had to make plays. Ole Miss wasn't winning that game tonight. Frankly, Ole Miss acquitted itself pretty well tonight. That could have, when it was 21-0, that thing could have easily gotten 42-3, 42-7, and been ugly. They made it interesting. This program, this staff is going to be judged next fall. Not now, next fall.
I agree. So if you're going to say that the game was already over with, then why at least try to score? I say we should have tried to score because odds are we're not going to beat LSU. Think about it. It's not a viable option. So at least you could do is try to score when you're on the 21-yard line, 4th and 6, versus shortly afterwards, much less field position, and you pull out some kind of fake punt or field goal or whatever. I don't remember at the point, but I mean, it's just ridiculous.
They could have onside kicked it from the word go. They could have gone for it on every 4th down and all that stuff. But at some point, as a program, you're making a joke of yourself. Just play the game. They were never winning the game. I mean, did you ever think this week that, hey, Ole Miss could win this game?
No, when they got within 2 scores with the ball was the first time I went, well, if you scored, you at least put some pressure on Burrow and make, you know what I mean? We had that second, we were sitting there watching it going, well, maybe, I guess. Look, you could have played the game. Frankly, the way Orgeron played the game against LSU in 2006, 7, whatever year it was, I don't know, down there when they got lost in overtime to that Brady, to the team that ended up beating Brady Quinn in the Sugar Bowl. It was just, he was the kitchen sink. He had them sky high, and it was trick play after trick play and all this stuff. And they should have won the game had maybe Brandon Thomas or Brandon Jenkins or one of the Brandons picked up the ball. I mean, just falling on it instead of trying to scoop and score. And they would have won that game. Instead, Dwayne Bowe catches a 4th down play in the end zone to tie the game. They block the extra point and then win in overtime, whatever. But you could have done it that way. I wouldn't have had a problem with it per se.
No,
I mean, you throw it out there and have at it. Now, here's the question. Did Ole Miss just give up on kicking tonight?
What do you mean, at the end?
Well, all the 2-point conversions and everything? They decided they're not kicking anymore?
Oh, I think they were trying to get it.
Was it a math thing?
Yeah, it was a math thing. They were trying to get it to 16.
Okay. I mean, the kicking's a problem. They have to get better.
Yeah, they got to get better kicking the ball. No question. Their special teams are very average.
Not really average. They're actually below average.
Yeah.
Who's on the line?
Yeah. Hey guys. Hey. Yeah, they're below average. But hey, who is Hey, this is a Stiff Nut Rag from Memphis.
Okay.
What's up, Stiff?
Hey, who is Ole Miss's true rival?
Mississippi State.
Got anything else?
No, y'all are wrong. It's sobriety.
Itself, maybe?
It's sobriety.
No.
Hey,
Hi, Toddy.
all right, see ya. You got to turn your when you get on the phone. You got to turn your device down.
Just straight sober there, right? Nothing at all.
He was high as a kite.
Oh, is that what you think?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're going with that over alcohol?
Maybe both.
Really? Is that what you're going? Turn your device down, please.
What's up?
Hey,
Who's
it's Robert again. Full water.
Oh.
Hey, Robert.
All right, so I got a question for you guys. If, let's say, Matt Luke and the staff had known that they had job security after the Alabama game, would Corral have come in and you given him the chance to run the offense no matter what happened?
It's a great question. I'd love to know that answer. It's a great question. I do think their opinion that they were in trouble, that they were having to fight for their jobs, factored into some of the decision making this year.
Yeah, I do too.
The lack of leadership, the lack of a voice absolutely impacted some of the decisions that were made.
Who's on the call?
Hey, boys. This is Luke from Annapolis.
Hey, Luke. What's up in Annapolis, man?
Oh, not much. I didn't get to watch most of the game because I was eating a true cheesesteak in Philadelphia.
Okay.
But I listened like the last 8 minutes. So I have a few questions, if you can answer them. Did the comeback in the second half seem like it was largely because the LSU just kind of came out flat and couldn't get back into the
I mean, the comeback is because Plumlee's an elite runner, and he found 2 seams. They scored 14 points in 4 plays.
Yeah.
They went play, score, play, score. He's always going to give them that ability. Ely's always going to give them that ability. It's what they do with the other series that we're talking about. I mean, that's what everybody's going, hey, 600 yards, 600 yards. I'm not discounting that. Those plays count every single time. But I'm more interested when they don't break big plays. They seem to move the ball. Nick Suss and I were discussing this during the game tonight. they move the ball tons, or at least appear to move the ball a lot between the 30 and the 50 to like the 40, and then it sort of bogs down. I mean, I think it was him. He made the comment. Phil Longo always caught the grief about not being able to score in the red zone. Well, this team has a hard time driving and then getting kind of into scoring range. They sort of just get some empty yards and then sort of bog down after a couple first downs when they don't hit the big plays.
Yeah. Okay. And then I don't know if y'all have gotten to hear Matt post game that he did with Cross, but he just sounded defeated. At what point does this staff just start to have trouble to show the team that they still believe? Because Luke just sounded so beat.
I think he came into a post-game press conference after having to go into another locker room after a loss, after seeing kids that do continue to play for him. And I mean, look, like him, don't like him, they play for him every single time, every single week. There's an incredible emotional element there, and I think Matt is somewhat beaten down just by having to not get that defining moment for his kids. I mean, everybody made fun of him talking about how a defining win's coming, but that's what's breaking him right now, if it sounds like whatever, is that they've got a situation where he is getting those kids to play. He needs it to pay off for them quickly, and it's just not getting there. And I do think that's a tough spot.
He wanted this to be a winning season, and tonight assured that it won't be.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they beat Mississippi State, go to a bowl game, and win the bowl game, it's not going to be a winning season. It's not a winning season. This season didn't go the way it wanted to go. And listen, the two things I can tell you is that the kids play hard for Matt Luke, and Matt Luke cares about the kids. Now, is that enough to keep him as your head coach long term? Of course not. You got to win games. But Matt's not doing the Houston Nutt thing at the end where he's phoning it in.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. It was a lot easier to watch this when I could go out and sail on Sunday, but now it's too cold.
I understand. Appreciate it.
Guys.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, I thought that early in the – here we go. Let's
Mute
try
that
this.
one. Or answer it and tell the person to hold.
Hold on 1 second.
Michael Smith asked on the feed, is beating this Mississippi State team a defining win? No. Let me get in front of that. No. It's not a defining win. It's a win.
It's a mediocre football team
It's
right
better
now.
than losing, but it's beating a team that is just slightly better than Vanderbilt.
If you weren't located 110 miles from one another, it would just be another Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Kentucky kind of win.
Yep.
Who's on the line with us?
It's Cameron Gluckstadt.
How many times have you called today? I got to give you some credit. I tried to get to you a couple times there, and it looks like you were being pretty persistent.
Yeah, I hung up earlier because I was just in that pattern of answering, hanging up, answering, hanging up.
What do you got for us? What's up?
So, first I want to point out that I'm drinking a little Voodoo Ranger, Juicy Haze IPA.
Okay.
My question is, guys, I just went completely blank. I was never expecting to actually come online.
We tried to get to you. What do you got? Take a breath. What? He sounded like
wow, he was starstruck.
He sounded like was it Drew Henson at the Rivals convention that day? Former major league player for the Yankees, quarterback and everything, freaked out in front of a bunch of sports writers.
Yeah.
Started sweating, almost passed out having to talk to us.
Yeah.
It was one of the stranger things I've ever seen.
It really was.
Yeah, I was looking at it like, holy hell. I mean, it's seriously, it just cracked me up.
Yeah.
Turn your device down, please.
It's kind of like Marilyn Monroe used to say when she'd hook up with the guy right before. You got to turn your device down. Got to turn it down.
All right, who we got?
Evan from Jersey.
Oh, okay. What's going on?
Not much. What's going on, guys?
Hey, so Ole Miss fan from Jersey. You from up there? Work up there? What's the deal?
All right, so here's the deal. I went to a small school, partied too much, played too much baseball, decided I needed to get out of town, was going to apply to Ole Miss, got in. Parents said, here's your bill for college tuition. Said, oh, I should go back to work, and then just started following the program from there on. So I've been kind of the only one stuck in the Northeast as an Ole Miss fan. I don't know why I chose it because, God, it's been a struggle recently.
Are you from Jersey originally?
Yes, born and raised.
So
I've actually emailed Neil a few times, so you kind of got my emails.
So why Ole Miss? How'd you just pick them out?
It was probably the 2014 Alabama game because it was highly entertaining, and everyone here is an Alabama fan because everyone in the North Jersey area kind of likes the front runner. So there's a lot of Ohio State, Penn State, and Alabama fans, which is very odd.
Okay.
So from, we'll say, 800 miles away, am I insane for thinking it's not as bad as it is on the field? Because you see progress. You see a lot of guys who are really talented, a lot of kids who have a lot of athleticism, and maybe the coaching's not up to par, but if nothing changes, I feel like this could be a 7-win team and not as mediocre just from the athleticism and the young talent most of the team stays. Is that insane to say or no?
No, they could have easily won 7 games, but they didn't win 7 games. So yeah,
no, I
maybe the fact that they were so close to winning 7 games is the reason that they're going to stay the course. My point is that next season that won't. What's the phrase? Pass muster. They're going to have to do more than that. They're going to have to win some of the games.
I agree. How much do you also think it is also not being able to see voice and the lack of leadership and what happened with Hugh Freeze, what happened with the AD, what's his name? Sorry, complete. Who went to Texas A&M? How much of it is just the amount of fed upness to with an average football team that's getting better, or just not getting the wins just looks worse than it actually is?
There is certainly a segment of that because they don't believe in anything right now. Don't believe in the voice. You don't believe in the path of anything. I mean, that's what I said last week, maybe on the podcast and the show. I don't know. We talk a lot, so it all runs together. Ole Miss just wants them to act like an SEC school. The fan base just wants them to act like an SEC school. That's it. Hire people that other SEC teams would hire, get in a direction, and then see what happens. Look, they would always be teeth gnashing over 4-7. 4-7's 4-7. School board business.
Sure.
But yeah, you at least get them with that Auburn game. We wouldn't be having a conversation of, hey, for Matt Luke's optics, would it have been better to have lost 51-10? I mean, logically, that's insane. But we still had that conversation, and I actually believed it. So, yeah, there's no doubt that Boyce, the way Matt was hired, frankly, which is, again, he just took a job. I'm not blaming him. But, yeah, absolutely, that the direction of things matters to what the overall mood is of an athletic department and its fan base. I mean, it's job one. It's why when you get it's why you make a chancellor hire, you make an AD hire, you make a football coach hire, whatever you're doing, people believe in that and they get out in front of it and they communicate it and there's a message and all this stuff. Hey, all the ships start moving in a little better direction. It starts being, hey, let's be a little positive here. It's been hard for Ole Miss to be positive lately. I mean, frankly, since Vitter's first day, which was also the day of the Sugar Bowl, things haven't exactly been swimmingly since then.
No, it kind of seems like it keeps going from drama to drama to drama. There hasn't been a lack of content for you guys to write a report. There hasn't been a normal day, especially from baseball, from Andy leaving to the football season. It's always from one thing to the next with you guys down there.
It's been good, but at some point you need it to just be good. You can, I mean, from our business, you can handle chaos for a little while, but then after that, you need everything to kind of perk up a little bit. So, anyway, appreciate the call from Jersey.
Thing before,
yeah, go ahead. Oh,
anytime, guys. Have a good one. No, it was from again 1,000 miles away, give or take. Why is it so everyone needs to be from Mississippi to be a part of the Ole Miss administration? Because coming from here, just hire the best person. Is it really because it's the inside baseball, the old guard? Why is that such a big deal to be a part of?
I did not mean to hang up, but I think we got your got the gist of your question. One Neil has pondered for a very long time, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
it is.
I don't know that answer.
You only got 2 minutes, Robert, but you got 2 calls. If that's the same, Robert. Not. I haven't gotten perfect at the hang up button. I'll admit that one. Not taking that one.
Oh, not a call you want to take?
That's not a call I want to take.
Why is that?
I'm playing dictator a little bit right now with the phone lines. We'll see what this one is. I like this one potentially better. Just picking and choosing a little bit at the.
You recognize the number?
Well, kinda, yeah.
Okay.
Who's on the line?
Hey, it's Brinks from Madison.
What's up, Brinks?
Hey, guys. How are y'all doing? First of all, let's go ahead and do a cheers again, if you don't mind. Quick, raise a glass to everybody out here.
Cheers.
All right, cheers. Question. So most of the fan base was out on Matt Luke from day one, I believe, because of the way he was hired, and I don't have any real argument against that. But, he did inherit, I'll give him the benefit of this, and by the way, I'll go ahead and preface to say I'm not a big Matt Luke guy myself, but preface is to say that he did inherit a program that was put on pretty significant probation with a lot of sanctions, and given that, he has done the job and taken us to where we are today. What is to make us believe that next year, when he inevitably probably does not win the games necessary to keep his job in 2020, and a new coach is hired in 2021, that we're going to be patient, the fan base is going to be patient with the next coach that's going to have to inherit a roster that's built around a very spread run oriented roster, quite frankly, that's a pretty unique roster to inherit, if you will.
In today's college football, you've got to get to 6 wins at least as fast as humanly possible. Look at Arkansas right now when there is not a bigger change in philosophy that is even out there at any point. And you saw that took less than 2 years. Now, look, they were abysmal. They were getting worse. It was justified. But, no, you've got to get to 6 wins immediately.
And that's my point. Whoever the next coach is going to have a very, in my opinion, is going to have a very specific skill set built roster that they're going to have to figure out how to win with. And I don't know that there's a lot of those coaches out there these days.
Look, everything else stabilizing, it kind of piggybacks off the last call a little bit. Everything else stabilizing and people believing in some of the other stuff. What?
Laughing at the happy Hanukkah, Chase.
Oh, okay. Everything else working a little bit will help some of those things. But no, you're right. Look, there's not going to the day has passed that somebody's going to get 4 years no matter what's going on to try to win at football. It's not going to happen. You've got to get to 6 wins, or you got to show improvement with the roster where the fan base goes, "Hey, we love these guys, and it's coming." Look to 2012. Look to some of those years. Some teams, there's other schools right now that are pulling this off a little bit. But no, you've got to get to 6 to at least let them get the bowl game, let a little bit of optimism come through, or otherwise, no, it's going to be a rinse and repeat. And you're going to do it all over again.
Right. So it's a perpetual, never-ending cycle of buyouts and new contracts and bad leadership, and we just sort of stay in the 6th spot of the SEC West for another 10 years, and that's kind of depressing.
How'd you get the name Brinks? Is it a family name?
It is not a family name. It is a gambling name. It is a deliver money to your house, like the Brinks truck's name.
And that's your name on the birth certificate?
Of course. Why would it not be?
Okay, that's awesome. It's unique.
Thank y'all. Have a good night.
All right. You thought it was?
I didn't know.
You dragging a little?
No, I'm good. I sent you a text from the.
Well, I don't know who it was from.
It's from me, from the caller that you're avoiding, I think.
You don't know that.
I don't. You're right.
You have no idea.
It's a good point.
You have no ability to know who the hell I'm screening over there.
That's a fair point.
Good grief. Who are we talking to?
Hey, this is Ben from Laurel.
What's up, Ben?
I called last week. I'm BPS 1810 in the chat, by the way. I changed my name to Big Ben. All right, so y'all talked a lot about football. I predicted it'd be like a 14-point LSU lead in that half, and then it opened up. Boy, was I wrong. So, I mean, that is what it is. I'm actually really interested to hear Neil's take on the Astros scandal and the whole baseball thing right now. You know, I'm a huge Braves fan, and just
I think it's
wondering what you think on it.
I think it's the biggest baseball scandal since the Black Sox. I think it's a huge.
Oh, I'm there with.
I think it's a huge deal. I think Major League Baseball has to address it in very dramatic. What's the word I'm looking for? Emphatic ways. I think that this is Rob.
Punitive ways.
Yes, I think this is Rob Manfred's big moment, and I think he has to absolutely hammer the Astros, and he has to send a message that it won't be tolerated. It apparently impacted a World Series. And when you allow cheating to impact a World Series, and it did, there's no question about it, you start talking about the integrity of your game. And when you get into the integrity of your game, you get into the fundamental part of what is the fastest way to turn fans off. I think it's a huge, huge problem when you study exactly what they did and how they did it, and the brashness with which they did it, the defiance with which they did it. I'm very curious to see what Rob Manfred does. I think he knows he has to address it, and I think he will.
Lifetime bans?
Boy, it's probably not. If you told me that maybe you suspend a manager for a season, that you suspend players for 60 games, that you fine an organization.
I mean, how is this not worse than what Coppola did with the Braves as a GM?
I think it is worse.
I mean, he's banned from baseball for life.
Yeah. Listen, if you told me that they went and Hinch and Alex Cora and Carlos Beltran and some of these kind of people got 1 and 2 year suspensions, I would not be surprised. And I think that's the kind of message that he has to deliver. He has to fine organizations money that is truly punitive.
There's no way they take away the trophy, though, right?
Probably not.
Nah,
but,
that would be hard.
You know what?
To do.
That's kind of like vacating wins. I mean, you know, she still won.
I'm not saying give it to the Dodgers because there's still arguments the Yankees could have beat them in the ALCS because it's a playoff system. So you can't say the Astros. You can't take away the Astros trophy and give it to the Dodgers because then the Yankees could say, "Oh, we could have won it." But I mean, just vacating it, like period, or like
you could
taking the money away.
You could do that. You could vacate. You could vacate the trophy. That'd be punitive. Say you have to take down all your signage, all that stuff. That wouldn't surprise me. I think something major happens. I mean, there's another story out today. I think Ken Rosenthal with emails and such. This was coordinated early in 2017.
Well, it just blows my mind. This isn't a bigger sports world story. Like I think Tua getting injured is a bigger story than this right now. It just blows my mind.
It tells you where baseball is.
Yeah, it really does. So I wasn't drunk last week, guys. Have a good podcast.
Thank you. They want some coaching rumors. I've not heard Mike McIntyre to Vanderbilt. It makes a lot of sense, but I've not heard it. The name that I continue to hear is Elliott, the Clemson assistant coach.
You're still hearing that?
It's the name that I hear. I don't know what's going to happen at Arkansas. I'll give you some rumors.
Sure, go ahead.
The rumor is that Arkansas is preparing a massive offer for Matt Campbell that he will have to turn down before they go to the next option.
What kind of numbers are we talking about here? What are we doing?
I mean, the number that you hear is 5 years, $35 million. So $7 million a year. The kind of money that makes you pause before you say no. Now, I don't think they can get Matt Campbell. The problem is, I think they probably could get Gus Malzahn. I don't know that they want him.
It would be popular there, wouldn't it?
Gus? I think 2 years ago it would have been. I'm not sure today it would be. Arkansas appears to be very serious about doing this the right way this time. getting a good coach. Doesn't mean that they will. It just appears that they have a good plan. And it appears that they have resources. And then about Moorhead, man, I don't know. If you told me that Moorhead is coaching for his job the night of the Egg Bowl, I'd buy it.
Doing this to prove a point that it was not the number that I was screening. Yes, Jeffrey.
Okay, so I kind of want to talk the coaching situation now, but I had other points to make. But let's talk about the coaching stuff right now.
Yeah.
Because I think the most fascinating aspect is, as Neil points out, if you make this big move in your Arkansas to go get Gus Malzahn, what does that really get you other than it divides your fan base again? Because there's a certain aspect of your fan base that really wants him, and there's another aspect of your fan base that goes, hey, this guy, like, yeah, he won big the first year at Auburn, but after that, like, he wildly underachieves. He's supposedly an offensive guy. His best teams always are defensive teams.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why he's not exactly exciting. And
I don't think that's the route they're going to go.
I guess my question is, after Campbell says no, because I think you and I both know that he's going to say no to that job. I do think Campbell probably views Iowa State and Arkansas as similar jobs in the terms of, I can probably win at the same level, and the expectations here are lower. If you go to Arkansas and you're a $7 million a year coach, like, you have to deliver. So I think the bigger question is, once he says no, what happens at that point?
I do think those two programs have probably the same win-loss.
Yes, I agree.
Iowa State, Arkansas.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, they're doing a deep dive on Mike Norvell.
Arkansas is probably a better program than Iowa State, but there's no reason in the world to leave Iowa State for Arkansas.
They're doing a deep dive on Norvell, and Norvell would take the job.
Let me ask you this, Neil. Do you feel like how desperate does Arkansas have to get to actually, quote unquote, pull the trigger on Norvell?
Not very. I think the fact that they're still digging on him tells you that they're wanting to find out enough to hire him.
Let me ask you this:
You make the run at Matt Campbell, right? I mean, he just beat Texas today. I mean, he's done a great job in Ames. So you wait for his season to end. You know he's probably
no, I agree.
You know he's probably going to say no. You know he's probably going to say no, but you wait for his season to end. You offer him a 200% raise, and you say, hey, at least sleep on it a night, which means go home and talk to your wife, and maybe she goes, Matt, it is life-changing money, and let's do it. And odds are he won't, but then when he doesn't, then you've done your research on Campbell. It's the reason why they went ahead and fired Morris. It let them go ahead and
for sure.
And they put in an interim guy that they're not going to hire. Barry Lunny is a Fort Smith guy, and they all like him and all that stuff, but no one's hiring him. So they did the exact right thing, so it gives them time to set up plan A, plan B, plan C, and from all accounts, they're doing it.
No, I mean, to me, it makes all the sense in the world, in that you try to get a guy that I actually think could win there, because I think Campbell's a good coach, and it's not just, I think he's a good coach because the Big 12, to me, like, when you look at it, the difference between team number 2 and team number 9 is really not that much, and it's really not recruiting's not as paramount in that league, in my opinion, as it is how well do you scheme up week to week. But the problem is, in the SEC, it is definitely it's a players' league more than probably any other league. So I guess my question is, why can Dan Mullen avoid, shall we say, terrible background checks, but Mike Norvell can't?
I don't know.
All right, I think because I actually think it's a fair question, and I think it's a question that I've been asked so many times that I want to scream. Back to the actual points that I want to make, though. So let me run this theory by you guys because you guys are around it and every single day. I think the way that Ole Miss plays football games actually has hurt this coaching staff in terms of we're making progress. And here's what I mean. They're running an offense that shortens the clock. Like, think about tonight. Tonight is probably one of the faster games that you've ever watched. And I guess the second half kind of drugged, but at least the first half was.
Because it went 3.5 total.
Yeah, so like when you think about it, because the clock is always moving, because they're always running the football, they're shortening the game. Their defense makes enough plays to actually, keep them competitive. But they play these games where the score is occasionally close. However, you never feel like they had a chance to win the game. And I feel like this is maybe perhaps causing so much outrage in the fan base. If they were just getting blown out playing young guys, and I know there's a lot of people on your message board who say, well, it's just not that they play young guys. It's so many guys will point out there's experience elsewhere. I mean, in fairness to Rich Rodriguez, that is a terrible offensive line. Like, part of the reason why you have to play Plumlee is to keep defensive lines from just absolutely blowing everything up. But I feel like the style of the game makes the score closer, yet at the same time, the games are never close. It feels very similar to me like when Lane Kiffin was coaching Tennessee. The Florida game stands out. The Alabama game stands out. Those were a couple of big games to their fan base in which the score was closer than you expected, but you never really felt like they were going to win.
You brought up a point that I hadn't really thought about, and I'm sure somebody can find this stat. I don't have it in front of me, but I'm just going by my eyes. I bet Ole Miss sucks in game control percentage, where at no point of any game you feel like they're controlling it. It's always kind of a, hey, if you can score, you can backdoor the cover, you can kind of get back in it, then you get one more stop. I think it's that they spend the majority of the game, even if they're not playing from behind, never really playing from a point of power, if you will, during the game.
No, I think tonight's a perfect example, because if you just saw the final score, the ultimate reaction would be a classic LSU hangover game after playing Alabama.
Ole Miss acquitted itself well, all good.
Game,
yeah.
Right, but if you watch the game, LSU came out to play. Like, it was 28-0. They were firing on all cylinders, and then they got bored at half. And John Rice Plumlee made several nice runs, and then all of a sudden LSU's in a game. But every time Ole Miss had a chance to make a play to kind of really, really, really make them nervous, Ole Miss couldn't do it.
I feel like we're having the same game over and over and over again. I thought that several weeks ago, and I still think that.
Question. So this is a bigger question.
Sure.
For instance, tonight's game, remember let's go back to 2012. Freeze is coaching against Texas, and it's a similar game. Texas jumped up so far and controlled the entire game, but Ole Miss made some big plays late, and all of a sudden, like, you were starting to feel better about it. Is there anything you can do as a coaching staff if you're Matt Luke, where if you were in a true rebuild, people, I feel like, would have felt better about tonight, but because of branding, because of maybe stubbornness, tonight just feels like another con against Matt Luke, whereas in other years I feel like this would have kind of been viewed as a positive.
Yeah, I think there's probably some truth to that.
All right, there's one last question here.
Yeah.
There's one last question.
Neil, how do you feel about Pilot Pete being the Bachelor? Because this is a very important question. I don't know if I can watch it again or not.
Hey, hold on a second.
I'll hang up and let you talk.
Hey, no, hold on. We haven't talked to you yet since the day. Were you surprised? Take me through it. What'd you think?
So I kind of knew it was coming. I didn't know what day, but I kind of knew it was coming because
you'd been real subtle about your intentions and whatnot, so I've been proud of you.
I know I have. I just told him, I was like, we're not 23 anymore, but I will say he told me, he's like, hey, you might want to go get your nails done sometime this week, early in the week. And I said, okay, I can do that.
Oh,
But I
that
didn't
was
know
not a
what
good
day it was
tell.
coming or anything.
Oh,
Well, I'm glad he didn't let it know because my nails were looking good in the pictures. That's all that mattered. But no, seriously, tonight also I had actually two questions. One about Pilot Pete, and then two, I need to know what to register for that's not typical. Both of y'all are married, so we've already registered for a what's it called? Death Star cheese plate and an R2D. Yeah, some stuff Jeffrey doesn't wants, but I don't really care about. Whatever. I like the cheese board, but he wants the Death Star part of it. So
did you request any paintings
just
potentially with wild animals on them?
no, none of those. But we're gonna hang up because I really want to listen to your answer.
Oh God, what to register for?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm all for
Bye,
Pilot.
guys.
I'm all for Pilot.
Bye, Leah.
Pilot Pete, by the way.
You're for it?
Yeah, I'm for him.
Why?
He had the big night with Hannah in the windmill.
Oh, that was that dude.
Yeah. So I want to see if he can.
Was this is
pull
not a
that off with
surprise,
multiple
right?
Girls. No. He was one of the top.
He's
two
the
or
one
three.
that the parents rooted him on too after this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. During the women tell all.
Yeah. 4 times in a.
All right, in our live chat, what should Aaliyah and Jeffrey register for? I'll take your words for it. I'll pass along anything that.
Candlesticks.
I am scared for having asked this question now, actually, but we'll see what we get. I'm glad he did that actually, because I did want to ask her what her thoughts were, and that was a deal where if you tell the girl to get her nails done, you know where that's probably going.
Yeah.
I mean, that was not Jeffrey trying to be very subtle at all.
But nobody goes that. I mean, if you go that far to ask the question and you don't know for a fact the answer is going to be yes,
Hello?
You deserve.
Who's on the call?
This is Tony from Jackson.
What's up?
Well, guys, I hope you're having a good night. I see Neil is drinking some wine tonight, and I hope you're enjoying a good vintage. I personally am enjoying a good vintage myself with 2018. It's that penguin wine. I can't think of what it's called, but it's fucking good.
A Shiraz.
So what I'm calling about tonight is, guys. I know Neil doesn't like this opinion, but guys, Matt Luke loves Ole Miss. We got to continue to give him the opportunity to continue to coach Ole Miss. Look, guys.
Hold on. What's your sobriety level on a level of 1 to 100 at the moment?
It definitely isn't a 1.
No.
Okay.
That's clear. That's clear.
Go ahead. I'm just curious what we're dealing with. That's all.
90.
Oh, hey. Yes, I just being totally honest with you.
Hey, I love you. It's all good. I'm just asking a question. Go ahead.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I was gonna call in. I wanted to be like fucking around and be like, hey, let's support Matt Luke, but fuck that. You know what? Fuck him. Fuck Rich Rod.
Okay, I liked a couple of them maybe, but that was a little much. I think he was probably a little hammered.
A little.
All right, turn the device down. I don't need to hear it twice. And then, what's going on?
What's up? Who's this?
This is Big Swig in Tupelo.
Hey, Big Swig. Turn your device down. This is not going to be a fun conversation.
Turn your voice down, Moody.
Go ahead.
What's up?
What's up?
What y'all drinking on tonight?
Chase is having a little Booker's, and I'm having some Pinot Noir.
Noah,
I hear you.
Neil's French.
This has been a hell of a year, hasn't it?
It has been one hell of a year. 2019. Who could
I
ever
don't
forget
know.
it?
Yeah, I know. No shit. I don't know about y'all, but I just want to beat State next weekend and just put it in the books and just let's move on. Shit.
You want to give everybody rollovers and
Good
raises
stuff.
when they beat State on Thursday?
I don't know about that, but I mean, I definitely want to beat State.
Do you want to keep the trophy or do you want to leave the trophy there?
I want to leave it there. I want to leave it there, and let's move on. Let's move on to basketball and baseball, and then, like y'all said, we'll judge them next year. But shit, I'm tired of arguing and fighting. I mean, shit.
Sometimes you get tired of fighting, just ready for some loving, right? No more fighting.
Absolutely.
Right. I know.
It's tough being an Ole Miss fan. Shit.
When's it going to get better?
When's it going to get better?
Sure.
When we win some games.
Are you into basketball, or are you just it's 100% football dictates your mood?
Basketball, I mean, football 1, baseball 2, basketball 3, but I can make some changes.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
You're not the only one.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for the call.
Yeah, appreciate
All
it.
right. I'm curious here. We've got a lot of people in the chat room. What would your reaction be if Ole Miss won the Egg Bowl and left the trophy there? Just didn't go. It's not going to happen. But if it did happen and they didn't go grab the trophy, they just left it sitting on that table, what would your reaction be?
It's never going to happen.
No.
Or at least not in this
Not
current.
with this coaching staff.
No.
Because this head coach cares too much about it.
What is it? Okay, here's a question, though. Seriously. We'll talk about this for a second. Go to calls in a minute if we want to. Get a few. If you're behind, stop for a minute, and you don't have to keep hanging up. Because I'm not going to take a call for a couple of seconds. This was more of a conversation you and I had, Matt versus Mullen and all that last year.
Yeah.
Moorhead may or may not be back next year. He couldn't give two craps about Ole Miss. He doesn't fit in Starkville whatsoever. I mean, he's contemplating the Rutgers job, for gosh sakes.
Right.
Is it as big of a deal to do that now? Because for whatever reason, we can talk about it not being 2014, 2015 from a win-loss standpoint. We can talk about Mullen and Freeze being gone, all that stuff. The rivalry has toned down.
It has.
Now it's because both teams aren't playing very well as much as anything. But it's also the head coaches. They both minimized it to some extent, at least in the media publicly.
Well,
it's not as big of a deal as it was 3 years ago.
The NCAA thing happened for two reasons. One, because Hugh Freeze was an idiot. And two, because Mississippi State was obsessed with Ole Miss. Hugh Freeze is gone now. And if you take that away from them, I mean, look at their Twitter whenever I tweet anything. They do the hashtag not a fan stuff. They're obsessed with it. If you were to leave that trophy there, you would hurt a lot of feelings.
There's no doubt about that. I'm not against that. I think it'd be great. It'd be great for content. We'd have a hell of a show on Friday. But I don't know that it's as big of a deal as it was a couple years ago.
It might not be. But that is your way of saying, and we're done with it. We play you cats once a year because you're in our division.
You're one of 6.
We're not doing. Yeah, if it were up to us, we'd play you in October, September. We wouldn't do this. The truth is, in town, when LSU comes to town, it's a bigger game. People are more excited. It's a bigger party than when State comes to town. Everybody hates each other so much that nobody can. You know what I mean?
No, I saw a lot of LSU people out and about today. Had a good time. Had a conversation. There were two.
Yeah.
There were two women, probably in their 60s, sitting next to me at lunch today. LSU fans. Together, they come to one away game every year. They came to Oxford and said, "Hey, we're just having a big old time."
Yeah.
And now there was a little bit of a joke to it because there's not the emotional element. Also, a lot of LSU people came because they're number one in the country. They just beat Alabama. It was a game they thought they were going to win.
Sure.
And they get a good environment for a weekend. There's a lot to it. A lot of reasons for it.
But it's a fun rivalry.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
everybody has a good time.
I mean, both schools put out kind of the hype videos that hype up the rivalry.
Yeah. LSU plays along.
Yeah. There's a history there.
It's still the main rival for older LSU people, the older generation.
I'd leave the trophy there.
Yeah, we're not talking about leaving the Magnolia Bowl. Take the dumb shop trophy with you
Take
when
the
you
shop
win.
trophy home and go, hey, we got it. Because the truth is, beating LSU is a big deal most of the time. It's time that when you beat Mississippi State, you go, so what? It's kind of like beating Vanderbilt. Be done with the damn thing. Tell them we're not going to participate in it. I'd respect the hell out of it. I know what's going to happen if Ole Miss wins. They're going to sprint to it, and they're going to grab it with this cathartic emotion and run around. Oh, we beat State. Yeah, congrats. You beat another 5-7 team. You both went 5-7. Since they brought your program to its knees, you've both sucked. Congrats. Whoopee. You're exactly where all the powers in the SEC West want you to be.
The symbolism of what you're talking about is important because State needs Ole Miss to acknowledge them to that level.
Yes.
Their path is to win half of the Egg Bowl games or a little more than half of it. Ole Miss's path out of this junk is to win the Egg Bowl 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah, Ole Miss's path to being a power.
You beat the 4 non-cons.
Beat Vanderbilt every year.
And beat State 7 out of 10.
Take the gift that the SEC gives you and beat State 7 or 8 times and beat Arkansas 7 or 8 times out of every 10 years. And then
start your year with 7.5 wins, as we talk about.
And then catch Auburn or whatever. Get lucky, and instead of playing Florida, you get Kentucky. Whatever. That's how you become a power at Ole Miss. You can't split with Mississippi State and be a power at Ole Miss. Mississippi State's never historically been anything other than a mediocre school, other than 1 or 2 years.
State tried like hell for years to drag Ole Miss down, and Ole Miss obliged. Get in the muck with this. Come play. Please come play.
Well, when Ole Miss did the thing on the Jumbotron.
The mini happy returns thing. Yeah. After Pegues had the thing.
Well, and the Dan Mullen thing, when they picked on Mullen, and I got it. But when you did that, you justified their behavior. They were like, yes, they hate us as much as we want them to hate us. I mean, they're the ones that put the stuff all over their shirts and all that stuff. Man, you guys got to move forward. You got to say, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. We're going to be the grown-up.
They did Ole Miss into the Egg Bowl tour.
Yeah.
The Egg Tour.
We're going to be the big boy. Oh, when Ole Miss won the Egg 2 years ago, their Twitter feed was obnoxious. It was obnoxious for a year. And Mississippi State loved it. I think Ole Miss is going to win that game in 12 days. I do. It's going to be their opportunity to leave the damn thing sitting there. Just leave it there. Walk away.
Go ahead, caller.
Chase.
Yes.
Good to hear your voice, man.
Who's this?
Oh, this is Bill, New Orleans.
What's up, Bill?
How are y'all?
We're lovely.
Great.
Good. I know you probably got it a lot, but what are you guys drinking on tonight?
Neil's on like his 4th bottle of wine over there, drinking out of essentially a 55-gallon drum. I've got a couple fingers of Booker's in front of me at the moment.
Oh, good man.
What are you drinking, Bill?
Well, I've been drinking some homebrew.
Oh, okay.
Good stuff.
I bet it is.
What do you want to talk about?
But I want to talk about what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about how I appreciate you guys and the podcast and JG Tate for getting this set up. Really enjoy following you guys, and I just want to run an offense that will allow us to recruit Arch Manning. And so until then, this is Bill signing off, boys. Good night.
For sure. I don't think Bill's alone in that thought.
No, he looks like the real deal.
He's just a freshman, but he does look like the real deal. Yeah. I will admit it. He is. He's looking right. All right, who we got?
Hey guys, it's Steve-O from Jackson.
What's up?
What's up, Steve?
First of all, I want to apologize for my friend Tony. He was passed out in the chair 10 minutes before he got on the line, so I want to apologize for that. But serious question. Before Matt came back in, was there ever any talk about putting JRP at a skill position and running him off the edge or anything like that?
No, he had some packages, but I think those were still at quarterback prior to the injury. They promised him he would have a chance to play quarterback before anything else was discussed, and they were going to honor that.
Because didn't we see one play at Texas A&M, I think, where they had both guys on the field at the same time?
They did run that a couple times. It was A&M or Missouri. I don't remember which one.
And so we haven't seen, that's only been that one time, right?
Yeah, that I'm aware of. That's all I remember.
And there was nothing else said to them about any other possible solutions to that?
No,
that would fix our issue.
both on the field at the same time is not sustainable because you're playing with 9 or playing with 10 in theory.
Yeah, no, I hear you. All right, well, that's the question I had. Thanks, guys. Okay. And Tony says he's sorry.
We'll forgive him probably this one time. Well, we got a lot going on now.
I can tell. I can hear it. You think Arch Manning likes the mesh point?
Why are you asking that?
I'm curious. Do you think he likes a mesh point?
Who are we talking to?
It's Leif.
What's up?
From Owensboro, Kentucky.
Okay.
I feel bad because I bet against the Rebels tonight. And I did pretty well in the first half, pushed in the second half. So I'm wondering about my Rebel soul. Am I okay? Am I still a good person?
For betting against them?
Because I just figured, because I knew we were going to lose.
I mean, your only lack of sanity is betting on Ole Miss, period. Because frankly, they've been covering a lot. They haven't won a lot, but they've been covering a lot. I mean, I've covered this team since 2006. You do not bet on Ole Miss. You don't know what the hell is going to happen.
Did you see where A&M beat South Carolina by 24?
I did pick them to cover, so that's good.
You did. It's good for you.
All right. Well, I got to go. Epstein didn't kill himself.
I think this is the one I tried to answer a minute ago. It didn't work. Who we got?
This is Shaggy.
What's up?
Question for you. If Bjork was still here, since Vitter's gone and then we got Boyce in, would Matt Luke make it another year? And if not, who do you think he would actually go for this time?
The money wouldn't be any different, so I think you'd still have the same problem. I mean, Ross is the one that gave out this contract that allows Matt 2 automatically rollovers.
Yeah, Ross would be getting some really difficult questions about the contract.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, I thought Ross left, and from the most part, I get there's a lot of hatred in some areas, but for the most part, in pretty good standing with fans, especially considering he had to be kind of the voice of the institution for a long time. Matt's contract is lowering Ross's legacy. Yeah. Rightly or wrongly, that it's happening because Matt's got a deal where if you fire him, it's there's no change on the foundation side from a rollover standpoint. He was given essentially a 6-year foundation contract.
Okay. So we're stuck with him then if Ross is still here.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be any doubt in the world. I think Matt would have 2020 no matter what.
All right, appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
70 Ole Miss Rebels 73 is trying to call. I really would love to.
What
talk
is
to
his
him.
number? If I don't know his number, how do I answer?
I'm asking him about his area code.
Are you?
Yep.
I mean, I'll just keep taking them until we get somebody. I don't know. Yeah, who we got?
Okay, so this is Donald Trump, President Donald Trump. I was just at Alabama LSU last game, and I watched the game this time around.
I'm not entertained enough. Sorry, you had to be better than that. I'm playing Dictator today, so. Well, that doesn't narrow. I mean, I've answered a ton of 601 numbers.
Yeah.
I'm not avoiding 601 numbers. I am avoiding the crappy Donald Trump impersonator.
Was that he tried to call back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We don't know what the number is.
I'm asking him
for your boy.
I'm asking for the next 3 numbers.
Just take one.
Sure, why not? Who we got?
This is Chase from Amory.
You don't get to impersonate me. Sorry. Gonna hang that one up too. It was an Amory number though. That's why I gave it a chance. And I don't think it was our boy, so I don't think I offended anybody.
No.
We're getting drunker, I think, at this point with our callers, and it's causing causing a little bit of a
they're
problem.
telling me that I'm drunk. They're drunker than I am.
Who's on the call?
I'm drunker than Neil is.
What's up? I'm drunker.
Listen, hey, I called in earlier. We talked for a minute. And I felt, honestly, I think I got cut off. But whatever. I have a very, very, very important question.
Okay.
Are y'all going to live stream Jeffrey's wedding?
Ooh.
That is a good question.
I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
But we will have plenty of podcast content for a week, I would assume.
I would think so. I will both be there.
Oh, come on. Well, if you're not going to do that, the least you could do is discuss, like, bands and uniforms like Matt and Richard used to do. Could y'all bring that into y'all's show?
We like to keep an audience for the most part. That's kind of a fan. That's one of our better things is to keep people listening. That would not do it. I think Jeffrey set a date, hasn't he?
I don't have they?
I thought maybe. I feel like somebody told me that.
Jeffrey would constantly interrupt and cut off the minister.
Oh, sorry. The guy's name was Chase. I'm sorry. My fault. It's happenstance because you're from Amory. I'm sorry. It's been a late night. Call back. I'll apologize on air. I'm an asshole. That's fine.
That was terrible.
It is terrible. Sorry. Call back. I saw the number. That's not it though. But we'll take one. Oh, gosh, it is a late night if I did that. It came right after Trump, I guess. Our callers were doing whatever. Who's on the line?
I apologize on there. I'm an asshole.
Turn your device down, please.
Terrible. Sorry. Call back.
Turn your device down.
They hung up.
Nope.
I think we're hitting some sobriety issues.
Yeah, I think so.
You think it's what's happening?
Yeah. What time do we start?
I don't know. $10 10.
I didn't see any of Jay's show to know whether he was lit or not.
You didn't?
I didn't.
Okay. Hold on 1 second.
Who's this?
This is the one I hung up on.
This is Jay
yeah,
from
I'm
Amory.
sorry. Go ahead. My fault.
That's all right, man. I let it.
Let it slide
I
this
understand
once.
there's a lot of people that's late in the night and they've been drinking, so
Yes, they have.
it ain't no big deal. But I was just sort of wondering. Of course, I was very impressed about tonight. I mean, do you think that this pretty much seals it as far as this is the direction we're going to go for the offense? And if so, I mean, you think at some point they're going to have to start changing up the type of players they're recruiting? That's just my opinion.
I do think I do think the direction of the offense has been going this way for a while. They're bringing in Robbie Ashford, who doesn't exactly fit this style. They're trying to bring in Jimmy Holiday, who does. Kincaid Dent, I anticipate, will still be on the roster. He does not. So I don't know. It's a good question, and the honest answer is I don't know.
I just, the 4 and 5 star receivers that we're recruiting, it's nice to have good receivers, but we need to have some better run blocking offensive linemen in the future. Our offensive line has done a good job for the way they started. I'm not saying that.
Here's what's interesting. Here's what's interesting. They're recruiting tall offensive linemen. They're recruiting guys who can play tackle, and then the ones who don't work out at tackle, they're going to move them inside. So they're recruiting big, tall offensive linemen, which tells you that they were thinking about a pass offense, and now it's for a run-oriented offense. Hell, I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, I've seen a lot of articles and stuff, that talk about of course, there's no doubt that Plumlee's a phenomenal athlete, but you'd like to use him like in the Christian McCaffrey type of way, and if we could find another, because he's definitely not a quarterback, he's a playmaker. That's he's just an athlete. So if we could find another quarterback, there's different ways to go about this than just the die hard, run it every play. That's just my opinion, though.
I get it. It's not a lonely opinion by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, I appreciate y'all taking my call this time, guys.
Absolutely. Sorry about that. Thanks. Have a good night.
That's all right.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to hang that one up, but. Do we get a prefix on our boy?
Not yet.
All right, we'll try this one. I don't think I've answered this before, but it's starting to run together a little bit. Who we got?
Hey, this is One Trick Pony.
Okay.
Yeah, I called a few weeks ago. I'm from Greenwood. I appreciate you taking my call.
What's up? What are you going to talk about?
I just wanted to call and ask a little bit more about Kincaid Dent. I know there were a couple of times tonight where we needed a quarterback to come in and make a couple big-time throws, and I just wonder why he isn't getting a shot.
They're just not going to play a third guy. They're having a hard time even getting Corral in right now, and it's the weird thing for Kincaid Dent, frankly, because he does not fit this system that they're currently doing with Plumlee.
No.
That's I do think that's somewhat of an issue as they move forward. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Well, I also want to ask you one more thing. Did Kincaid go through Rush this year? And if so, did he have good experience, or how did that go for him?
I'm not aware. Thanks for the call. Okay. I laughed at that one. That was
good.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. All right, we'll take one more shot, see if it's our person.
Once you get to a certain point.
Who we got?
Oh, Corey Hinton, man, from Oak Grove.
What's
West
up?
Hattiesburg.
Okay, what's up?
So you already know I'm from Oak Grove. I'm a John Rice Plumlee fan, and I hear how hard you guys are on him sometimes. But I've watched this kid since he played in the like I said, I've watched him play since he was a freshman. And when I first saw him, play, I'm like, this kid is not a quarterback. Because, like I say, his freshman year, he was playing he's safety. He started off as a safety. He's a hard hitter. They moved him to quarterback. He could not throw a lick. I said to myself, this kid will never be a quarterback because we have high standards at Oak Grove. But by the time he made it to his junior year, this kid was throwing the ball all over the field. And if you don't believe me, you can go back. You can just look up his highlights and look at the throws he was making. But my question to you guys is, do you think, I know it's a difference in the SEC, and just D1 ball anyway. So I'm just trying to see if he could change by his, maybe even next year. I know he's going to play baseball, which he shouldn't, but do you think that he can improve that arm.
I do.
And that's all I got.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about it. Appreciate the call. I do think he's going to become a more competent passer. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I've said this. I'm going to stick with it. I'm becoming a broken record. I'm going to wait and see what it looks like to start a fall camp next year. Going to give him a full year in the system and then see. I don't know. Maybe he's going to work with. I think he's already worked with David a little bit. Probably can still do that a little bit. The baseball thing bothers me mainly from the standpoint of I think a lot of his mechanical issues are baseball related. He throws the football like a baseball a little bit. So that needs to get better. Playing baseball may not do that, obviously. That's not necessarily the way to get there. But no, I'm going to give him a leash because he gives you a premium tool, so it's worth it to at least see what happens from there. I mean, I do buy that more than anything else. Alabama going to fall out of the top 5 on Tuesday? They are, right?
They're going to fall out of it when they lose to Auburn.
Oh, you think they're losing to Auburn?
Yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't like Mac's chances?
No. They're done.
Did Ruggs get hurt today, too?
Yeah.
Is he out?
I don't know.
Is it bad?
I don't know.
Okay. Anybody else want to give it a shout before we move on? Got a little break here. This is a new number. Let's see what this one is. Oh, I tried. It hung up. We're getting some fat fingers, I feel like, at this point in the evening. As much as anything.
I hesitate to do this, but you know what happened to me tonight? I got invited on a pheasant hunt.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, a friend of mine, actually 2 friends of mine, invited me to go on a pheasant hunt with them next month in South Dakota. You think I should go?
I don't see you as a big pheasant hunter.
Never shot a gun.
Have you? Whoa, hold on. You've never shot a gun?
Not a shotgun.
Well, what kind have you shot?
I've shot a pistol once when I was working at WNSP in Mobile. We had a remote at a firing range.
That's it?
Scared the hell out of me.
You've never shot a rifle or a shotgun in your life?
I've never even held one.
No kidding.
No kidding.
So you've never killed any animal at all with a gun?
I've never killed anything.
Well, I mean, thank God. I asked about an animal, and you're going into other areas. I mean, well, no shit.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Killed like a bug or something.
But you never shot a squirrel or a deer or anything like that with a handgun or a pistol or a rifle?
I've never shot anything.
Really?
Really?
You should do it then.
You think so?
Why not? I mean, I'm not exactly a big hunter, but I have done that.
Do I got to get like some boots and stuff? What do I do?
Sure. Some camouflage, some orange.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, I don't own any of that stuff.
Just got to smear the blood.
No, I don't want to do all that stuff.
73 says he sent you an email. You believe him?
I'll look. Let's see. You think it's a setup to kill me out there? To kill me in South Dakota?
Highly I mean, you're going to talk about it before you leave. So if so, that'd be a really bad criminal.
It's true. I do not have an email from 73.
Yeah, I think that's all a setup. I don't buy that he actually called. Do you think he's a real person?
Probably not.
I mean, is in like the on-board persona?
No.
The actual persona?
No, I think he's trolling.
Do you really?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a pickup truck. I do like country music. If I went pheasant hunting, that would be the trifecta.
What we got on the line?
Hey, this is Tool Army.
Oh, hey, Tool. What's up?
Sorry, I'm under the weather, but I was wanting to talk about Boyce. I'm assuming that he didn't make an appearance at the senior day.
They did not announce him, the best I am aware of, at today's football festivities.
He's too busy leading.
He's done some scripted stuff. He did something with the ROTC. He did the golf course, short course naming. and he's done a couple other honor society things, but those are the only ones that I'm aware of.
And your sources have no idea when he plans to be a little bit more on the public side?
I don't know that he does, to be honest. I think even his path for doing some of those things is in very small groups. I've heard he's been two ways to look at this. I've heard he's been pretty good with donors. I've also heard that he was compared to Vitter when it came to being good with donors. So, okay. I don't really know what that means, frankly. But either way, yeah, I think he's been okay at that. I mean, I saw he called heat from a Murrah student this week because he had only gone to suburban high schools in Jackson or academies instead of any of the inner city schools.
That was a mistake.
Well, thanks. Yeah. But no, I don't think there's a path or at least an observant plan at this point to be a little more
the Facebook.
A little more public from that standpoint.
All right. So if you guys have publicly reported that they're delaying the AD hire, which, I mean, we essentially know who it's going to be in all likelihood. If it's already out there and it's public that that's what they're doing, why not just do it and be done with it?
I would have done this search completely different than it's been done if it ends the way I think it's going to end. Yeah, so I mean, you're preaching to the choir there. There's a lot I would have done differently.
Yeah, right. But you know what I mean. Like it's that cat is already out of the bag. So what point is there in waiting?
Well, I mean,
I know it's rhetorical because you can't answer.
If it's Keith, who I think is interviewing tomorrow, I think they're doing a deal where you wait and wait and wait, where he doesn't have an ability to make that decision.
The Matt Luke decision.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I think too.
That's my guess.
Yeah, but my point is, since that's already kind of been out there in public, it seems toothless either way. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, they're down a path now where there's not really a good way out of it unless you're hiring someone that is an AD that would get a lot of looks at other SEC institutions.
Look, if you were going to hire Keith Carter and keep Matt Luke, a month ago you have a press conference and you say, we're not doing a search because we like what Keith has done. We're pleased with Keith. He's our guy. And people are going to argue about it, but you say that publicly. And then you say, and while we're at it, you do what South Carolina did, I think yesterday, where you say, we like the job Matt's doing. This is a rebuild. He inherited a train wreck, and we like the progress that he's making. And right now he's our coach, and he'll be our coach in 2020. Is that going to please everyone? Of course not. Of course not. But it's going to silence the crowd. But they don't do that. There is no leadership over there. There's no one to make decisions whether they're popular or not. And so instead you have a void, and there will always be noise to fill the void. That's how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I've heard of I don't know overall. I've heard of a journalism donor that has either pulled or is threatened to pull $1 million over the Boyce deal. Has it happened? I don't know, but I've been told that directly by multiple people.
Why is he upset?
The process, I guess.
Oh.
Are you surprised?
This is a man that takes probably 15 minutes a day to meticulously do a mustache.
Oh, here you go.
This is a detail-oriented man. He is going to turn around this university.
And that's $1 million up front. I don't know what a potential estate or something would look like. What?
No, nothing.
I mean, being serious. A lot of times those are twofold. I mean, that wasn't a joke that time.
Do you know the care that you have to take to get that mustache just so?
I'm aware. Yeah, thanks. No, not Meek. He's already pulled the cash. It's going elsewhere. This is somebody else. I did not spill the drink last night. I know a lot of people think I spilled the drink last night. I did not kill Ole Miss's run that was happening at the moment against Western Michigan. It came somewhere from my left and did end up at my feet to the point of I was like, hell. Like, it's going to look like I did it.
If they lose that game,
the referee
it's all your fault.
The referee was pissed too.
What did you have in your drink, by the way?
I didn't even have a drink. That's the thing. Like, I didn't even have one with me. I did not even bring a drink to my seat last night. But yes, the
Then
drink came.
What drink spilled?
Well, I don't know. It came way from my left. It looked like it had some bourbon in it. It looked like a bourbon and Sprite or something.
Okay.
It came from my left. A student apologized. So I think what happened was it was sitting under a seat, and a student kicked it from under the seat. But it did. It came straight out, went all over the floor, and then the cup rolled and spun and went right between my feet. I mean, just sat right there. So, like, the referee stared at me and was like, and I'm like, no, that wasn't me. And yeah, it was kind of embarrassing. I'll be honest. Like, I'm getting text just like, hey. I was like, no, I didn't spill the stupid
That's
drink.
what I heard.
Oh, it was bad.
Could you grow a mustache?
I mean, is there an attractive one? But I was going to say no, not an attractive one by any means.
Could you grow a boy's mustache? That's almost what I bet should be. The loser has to grow
a mustache?
A Glenn Boyce mustache.
Oh, God. For how long?
Like a week.
Once it gets to the appropriate length.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, I'm not willing to do it.
You're not?
No.
I bet you look like one weird SOB with a mustache.
Can you imagine? I mean, no.
Like, to the point of you might need your name on a poster somewhere. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Even though I've never done anything like it, I would suddenly be a registered sex offender. Do you think his mustache is like hiding something?
I'm not shaving my head. You can completely. Nope. Never. Not happening.
I don't think they're asking for JFK theories. I've got the most boring theory in the world.
You think he just did it?
I think Oswald acted alone.
You really do?
I do.
You think there's no conspiracy?
No conspiracy.
Because you think a conspiracy takes too many people.
Yeah, I think Oswald absolutely acted alone.
I mean, I'm not arguing with you. I think that's very possible.
That book over there to your left, Case Closed.
Yeah.
Is definitive.
Who we got?
This is Tim from New York City, Rainmaker Rep.
Okay, what's up?
How you guys doing?
So it's 1:20 a.m. on a Saturday night, and you're talking to us.
I am. Do y'all feel special?
Very.
I feel special.
You should. I said your number a couple times before I answered it. So.
Well, I'm glad you picked up.
I
got
did.
a basketball question if you'll take it.
Sure.
So what's your 3 games into the season? What are your thoughts on Kermit and the Rebs? What do you think happens in Brooklyn in a couple of weeks? And will you come and do some shots with me and Joe Bob in Brooklyn in a couple of weeks?
I'm not coming to Brooklyn. I'm not going to spend the travel budget in November because I think this is a team that makes it to March. I like them. I think they're going to be a really good team. They'll beat Seattle on Tuesday night. The Memphis game will be fascinating on Saturday, and then Brooklyn will be really interesting because they're going to play good teams.
What do you
Penn
guys
State
think
good? I
happens
thought they
to
sucked.
Memphis?
I'm sorry?
He asked about Memphis.
What do you guys think happens to Memphis after this whole debacle with
I
Weissman?
think they reach a very favorable resolution for Memphis. I think he suspended a single-digit number of games and then plays.
See, I think he serves a double-digit suspension.
Okay. I think they get off very light considering what it could have been.
All right. Do y'all have any questions for New York City?
I've never been, actually.
Have you never been to New York?
No.
You have what?
I swear I haven't.
Well, I'll tell you, we have a large contingency up here considering it's New York City. We'd love to have you. You guys come up here and tape a session with us. And
you think
we'd love to do some shots with you.
You think we could fill a bar with Ole Miss people in New York for a live show?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, you could. We fill a bar every weekend. Even when you guys are not there,
Well,
you would quadruple the crowd. If you came up, you'd quadruple the crowd.
Okay. We'll have our people talk to your people.
Do it. Call it New York City. Just reach out to the alumni chapter up here. We'll get y'all set up.
All right.
We'll film a show.
Sounds good.
That'd be awesome.
All right. Thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate taking the call.
No problem. Do I know that number? No, it's fine. We'll see what happens. I'm being a little more selective, aren't I?
You are. I have no way to know what you're doing.
Who's on the line?
Hey, it's Josh Mayhew.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. I got a few questions, just none of them football related. First one, what do you shoot on 18 holes?
If I break 90, I feel like I've had a decent day.
Hey, join the crowd.
I'm not very good, but I'm decent enough. I can beat Neil.
That's not saying much from
Well,
the
hey,
Twitter feed I've seen.
Well, I mean, Neil did shoot 152 with a PGA Tour player's help, hitting multiple drives for him. So, I mean, that is something.
Not much, though.
I think Jonathan saved him between 5 and 10 strokes. So he probably would have shot somewhere around the 160, 165 range without him. Because he did par. I think he parred a 245-yard par 3 into the wind because Jonathan hit it to like 6 feet.
Yeah, that's pretty sporty.
That was pretty sporty. Neil would have been there a while.
Yeah.
I agree. And my next question is it's a 4-letter word question. You can say ass and damn, blah, 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 and you can't say SHIT. Why?
I guess that's a decent question. I don't have an answer. I mean, I'd rather you not, but we don't. You know, we're not FCC compliant, so you can.
Well, I'm just saying on the podcast y'all said ass and damn and
I mean we're fairly careful with what we do there, and frankly, it's because YouTube doesn't like it, and we don't like getting flagged by YouTube for profanity.
But my question is, why is the SHIT the 4-letter word you can't say?
Well, there's lots of 4-letter words I can't say.
Well, I mean, you watch movies and whatever on TV, and they say GD and whatever, but they say damn and ass.
Yeah.
You know, the one that always the one that always baffles me is when someone's angry at you and they say, I'm gonna kick your ass. If you're gonna get kicked somewhere in your body, wouldn't that be the one place you'd want to get kicked? Would you rather get kicked there or in the knee?
Or the shin even.
Or the shin or the chin or the eye.
So you think that's the best place to be kicked?
If I told you you have to get
other than
kicked,
like the shoulder, maybe.
Okay. So if I tell you you have to get kicked somewhere, where would you like to get kicked?
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
That would probably be where you'd pick.
Yeah. Okay. I'm kind of out, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't have much else. Calls look like they've stopped. We've gone a little over 2.5 hours tonight. Appreciate everybody. Still got a really big crowd on. I appreciate all that. We're gonna have some fun after the Egg Bowl. Gonna have a big time. We're gonna settle in.
Be something.
Hopefully the tryptophan is not gonna have Neil all worked up over there, and we'll make it work. We'll have some pie and some alcohol, and we'll settle in for a long night. We might probably get you some hand raised guys maybe before that as well for some basketball stuff. So we'll
maybe so.
We'll test with it, see how it goes. But appreciate it as always. Check rebelgrove.com. We'll keep doing podcasts, got instant analysis and more content, and we will talk to you again soon. Thanks, guys.